everybody? Welcome back to the Project Manga Podcast, where we cover Ayashimon, Mission Yozakura Family, Jujutsu Kaisen, Dr. Stone, My Hero Academia, and One Piece. Week to week, back this week covering Weekly Shonen Jump issue number 14. I'm your host, Eagle.
Knox.
And I'm Ella Yenis.
And as always, before we get started, we would ask that you take a look in that description box down below where you can find links to any and all of our individual social media accounts such as Twitter, online communities like Discord, audio listening platforms to consume the podcast on, as well as links to support the show, such as our Patreon or our online store. Also, while you're down there, slap a like on the video to help us climb the algorithms, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to get more fire-ass weekly content such as this. Also, timestamps down there will allow you to conveniently navigate through the video and avoid sections for spoilers, stuff like that.
Yes.
Also, let us know in the comment section, being that this is the final week of coverage for Dr. Stone, what series you think we should replace it with on the show. So yeah, we'd like your suggestions, we'd like your input and feedback. So yeah, just do that, please and thank you. And with all those words said, good week in Jump, full roster, man.
Bigger week than usual, I want to say. I feel like everything is just like so crazy right now. Ayashimon, Dr. Stone, Mission Yozakura Family, everything is on such a high point. Obviously, Dr. Stone ending, but everything else is just like, whew, shit.
I mean, I think it's weird because we noticed that they sort of sync up a lot of times.
They tend to, don't they? Yeah.
And part of me wonders if that is a little bit of like editorial influence, because I remember seeing like the little like author comments sync up, and like a lot of the author comments were saying like, oh hey, Dr. Stone, it was great, Boichi, fantastic art, all this stuff. Yeah, so I'm just like, maybe I feel like they're all kind of kept in a loop.
Maybe kicking it.
Have a small enough social circle that they're just like,
Maybe
of course we talk about stuff.
Like what you doing right now? I think I'm about to have it go into this. Like, all right, well I'm gonna do something crazy too then.
Yeah, exactly. Gotta hype each other up.
Yeah, type shit.
Well, with that said, I think we should just go ahead and jump right into it.
Yes, sir.
Ayashimon, chapter 14. What about you?
Banger.
Yeah,
this one was like
this
is the developments in this chapter are like right on time for Ayashimon for me. I'm not gonna say that I was like starting to get to a point where I was like worried about like the direction that it was going in, but like having Maruo kind of like unlock this new area of his like psyche in combat, especially with like this link with Urara and whatnot, to like kind of like bring his, bring him in, you know what I mean? So he's not just throwing haymakers wildly, he has like a new avenue that he can go down and actually like get creative with what he's doing in combat instead of just throwing fists. I think that that's just like beautiful right now. Plus it's deepening the bond between him and Urara, and it's just like a whole bunch of gang shit going on in this chapter too, and I love everything about it right now.
Definitely. I think go ahead, Mello. Sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. I was just the thing that I really found interesting was the idea that the duel is a true battle of soul. So like, I know that I kind of called him just like waiting for him to hit him, grab on, and then like climb on top of him. But the part that really threw me, and I'm really glad that they didn't make it as something as a simple transaction of that, is when he punched him, he's like, that doesn't feel right. And he's like, nah man, this ain't a battle of strength, that helps. But this is a battle of souls. This is your conviction. You don't have any.
Right.
That's why it don't work on me, dude.
Yeah, that's so good. Like, you have your strategy, you figured it out, but you don't have any of the remaining chutzpah left to apply to what you're doing for it to be effective. And I think that that's also great, because if it was just as simple as, oh, I have a new avenue to take in my fighting style now that I have this like tattoo link with Urara, and she's kind of like my guy in the chair, like my oracle if you read Detective Comics, but like someone shouting, directions to me mentally, making it easier for me to think, now I have the new thing to do, and he doesn't just win off of that, off of that epiphany. It's nice. Know what I mean? Yeah, he still has more to go, and I think that that's really cool that Kaku Yuji made that decision to not just have that be the solution just because it's new.
Yeah, because looking at Maruo on page 5, right? Like, got you now, haha. Like,
Yeah.
no pupils, no thoughts, just brute force. Even on like 8 and 9, he's not looking at his opponent when he strikes him either. Like, he's
Mm,
not like his pupils aren't there,
mm,
and it really makes me wonder. Like, Maruo is an interesting character because he seems like such a rock lump of clay,
yeah.
right? That has so much strength, so much potential, but the parts that we seem to enjoy out of this chapter, like you yourself said, is like, oh yeah, I'm glad that he's expanding his like fighting style beyond just haymakers. I think it's important that this character has like is emotionally stunted. Yes,
Yes.
but like his power is going to come from emotional growth. So I'm really interested because that emotional growth and that sort of like bolstering of his conviction will make him stronger as a whole.
Yeah.
And so I'm really interested to see that sort of direction go forward in Ayashimon.
You said something interesting about like how he's like not even looking where he punches just because his like eyes are white, and that's like interesting because like normally I would just think, oh, he's like we see that all the time in manga when their eyes go white when they're in like the middle of a very powerful attack or something, or they just want to make them look like scary or demonic. I never really thought of it that way, but if that is like an indicator that Maruo is kind of like just like blacking out or something and just like swinging, just like acting entirely on instinct. That would be cool if after he comes out of this new like mental upgrade in combat that he kind of has, that and that we know that he's going to eventually, bring out of himself to get this W possibly. Like whenever he comes back with this like soul conviction that he needs to pull this out, I wonder if we'll see him with pupils as he's delivering like final blows instead of just whited out eyes, because if that is like a visual cue that he doesn't have all of his facilities about him while he's fighting, then that would be cool to see a visual difference there after he does kind of, you know, reach his, level that he needs to be to fight this dude with his
Yeah.
soul or whatever. I think that'd be sick. I never thought about that. I'm gonna be watching for that now.
Yeah, it's tough to say, I guess, because after that dialogue on page 8, when he hits him in the heart directly,
Mm-hmm.
he still has the whited out eyes in the panel afterwards. So it's
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, right? So like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
so
he gets pupils when he's like, hang on, that didn't feel right. Like the moment he's actually thinking. Like
which
yeah,
is
half
to
the
say
time,
that while he's
Maruo's
striking,
like
he's not thinking.
right. So
yeah,
he's
like
saying like
Maruo
Even
is
though we
like
just got this dialogue from him saying that, like, my head is clear now, I am kind of thinking about it.
sure, but basically what he was saying is, or what we were trying to say is that like if he is still like he has his wits about him, I guess, but like he's still
he still
no
feels like he's lashing out.
like I guess
Like
the only reason why I'm still saying I like the idea is because he is still missing a piece of this combo that he needs to beat this dude. So
mm,
like when he has all of the facilities necessary to beat him, I wonder if there will be a difference in his facial expressions when he fights. But that is a good point. He definitely does say that no, I am thinking clearly before he punches him. So maybe it is still just like a we white the eyes out when we're going crazy kind of manga thing that we see all the time. But
but I do want to see like a level of intention from like, yeah, he can say he's like, I'm not just fighting for me, I'm fighting for the gang. But does he like deep like is he saying that because he wants to be a shonen protagonist, or is he saying that because he genuinely believes that? Or is he like deep down just viewing Urara and the whole situation surrounding her as an avenue for strong opponents for his own motivations of I want to fight strong people?
yeah. And either
Because
way,
it's like
regardless of what it is, I'm going to be looking at his eyes after this and seeing if there's a difference when he fights, because
Christ.
he's been having the white eyes whenever he like goes crazy pretty much this entire time. And if that's
yeah,
more than just like a visual cue of like bloodlust and savagery, and it really is like a you're blacking out, you're not even thinking straight when you're fighting, even though he does say it, so it feels like it's not a thing, but I'm still going to be watching that shit. Still going to be looking for
yeah.
it.
I mean,
I
it
liked.
might just be this sort of like oh, not like a full dissociation, but like he talks about how he's feeling on the first page, blood pulsing hot. very Frank Miller, right? Like,
Yeah.
magma inside me,
Yeah.
pulsating sounds, hypes me up,
Yeah.
very, very, very Frank Miller. But like, it just like it doesn't feel like he's like. It's not that he's not rational. It's just that he's more instinctively fighting. Like he's always gonna instinctively fight, right? Like that's been his MO. Even when he was fighting Dopo, like he was barely conscious and he was still taking swings.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I think it's less, what's the word, intentional.
Sure.
Like the idea of like fighting with your convictions as opposed to brute strength. The intent is like the emotional drive behind the fighting, whereas opposed to like normally he's just like, I want to fight to validate myself, and I'm good at fighting. But he's using brute strength. He's not using
Yeah, and
the
even if
muscle.
he's
Yeah,
even
the
if he's
spirit.
thinking a little bit more just to grab the scarf or whatever,
Yeah.
he's probably, now that he has him dead to rights, he's probably putting his entire back into this attack in a blackout kind of way, like he usually does, because he doesn't think he has anything to worry about. So it could be
Yeah.
that, like now that he has him cornered, now eyes go white, crazy downward haymaker. So it could be something like that too. But yeah.
I like that Urara started talking about how sometimes the ring in the one-on-ones can be so big that you can lose sight of the combatants, which, I mean, up until this point, we've pretty much seen, like, smaller ones, right?
Yeah,
Like
pretty
within a
standard
room of a
size.
building or, what you would think. So I think that's an interesting concept to have introduced. I wonder if I wonder if it has to do with the abilities of the combatants or, like, maybe the power level or just straight up the setting, like because a lot of the ones we've seen have been in a building, right?
Yeah. There
Yeah.
was a couple that were outside, like the first one was outside in the first
Like
chapter.
Uwan, yeah.
Yeah, Uon was outside. But like I think you're spot on though, Eagle, is that like depending on the abilities of the person might determine the size of the barrier, because he even goes into it on page 11. I don't know who's saying this like pig face dude. Um on the middle panel. He's like any faster and he'll zoom right out of the barrier. I don't know who says that
So
exactly.
that is Urara through the tattoo.
Oh, yep. Good shit. Any faster and he'll zoom right out of the barrier. But then right away, this dude says we have no barriers, almost like he's responding to that. So that's like weird if he can like hear Urara too. I don't know if he would be able to. I don't know how loud she's being, or if the tattoo is like a speaker or something and it's like coming out of the tattoo, or if it's all like mental or whatever. That's kind of weird to think about. But anyway, he says we have no barriers. We race down whatever road we choose with nothing to stop us. That's cool. It's nice and poetic, and it ties into like the size of the barrier thing and whatnot. But like that means that it has to be like based on the abilities, like Eagle was saying though, then. Because now this dude has a technique that has him literally all over the place in a matter of no time. So you would have to have a big barrier. Otherwise he can't get like the full range of his capabilities if he's in a confined space. Or maybe that makes him stronger. Who knows? But
Well, the previous chapter they said, hey, we got the strip and this park. He might be at the edge of the park.
oh sure.
Because, like, when they did the battle, like, the second was just like, hey, we're going to use this strip, we're going to use the park, that's going to be our barrier. Anything around that, no one's going to notice. Like, so I feel, because you can see the park on page 12 and 13 where he's getting dropped.
Yeah.
So I feel like they were just at the edge of it, to be
Okay.
honest.
Okay.
But I think that, yeah, it is interesting. I didn't realize, I didn't catch that when Kotan was just like, yeah, we have no barriers. It's like, huh,
Yeah.
Rara is just speaking.
So
Like
maybe
a little audio
well
speaker.
there is a possibility that there is actually a barrier to the death match, and he's just saying that as like a character thing. Like we don't have any barriers, we race down whatever road we choose with nothing to stop us. Like he could like yeah, he said that, but there probably still is a perimeter for the fight, and it's just massive. And he's just saying shit to be cool.
Yeah, I think he is.
Yeah.
I mean, he is very much a machismo character. I feel like that's very much his character. He's like, we race down whatever road we choose. There are no barriers, and so he runs straight up the wall, like the wall of this building, apparently, getting up way high and then just dropping him.
Yeah.
Because you can see like this whole fish lens
Yeah.
kind of vibe on the 12-3 spread, and in the panel at the top of 14 where he's dropping Moruo.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, that shit's wild. I wonder how he's gonna come back. I know the fall's not gonna kill him because he's just like a tank like that. But I wonder like what kind of introspection we'll see. I really hope it's not like focus on 10 and then Maruo comes back like I know what I need to do now and then does the thing. I hope that we get like maybe some back and forth split perspective of 10 dealing with this Wan Yudo guy. I'm pretty sure that's who this is. And then switching perspective back and forth between him and Maruo, who's like gathering himself, having some deep like inner writing of some kind.
Yeah.
And then figures out the soul thing and then comes back for whatever. But I hope it's definitely just like not just we don't see Maruo until he comes back. Like I figured it out. Boom. You know.
I think it's gonna be spliced into like little bits. Like there's gonna be there's gonna be a slice of like next chapter is gonna be a slice of like Kotan and Maruo. Hey, saying like good luck, get dead, hope your death's quick. Hope your death is quicker than me. And then he starts falling. Cut to 10 Vice fighting the Wan Yudo Waku.
Yeah.
Halfway through that, another clip to zoom back to like Maruo. I feel like he's gonna do something where he's gonna like grip onto the side of the building
and then just
nails on a chalkboard, hold himself through, maybe kick in a window as he slows himself down, like
some shit like that.
Lots of broken glass.
I feel like he could just fall straight on the ground and be like, ah, shit, and then just get up. He's feeling he's that strong.
If he
just
does
survive
that,
that fall's
would
pretty
be
fucking, yeah, that fall's pretty high.
It
but
looks drastic. I feel like he has to have some level of like self-preservation for that. But then that would like trigger this conversation of Kotan. It's like, man, why do you care? You're not that. It's like you're not all of that. Why do you keep hanging on? And then having that question, having to answer that question might be something that like cements resolve in Maruo. Because like we had this conversation last episode of talking about like, you know, saying something out loud means something.
Yeah.
So I think there might be something like that where he's like, why am I fighting? Like, it's like, why am I fighting?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Finding that inner drive, asking those inner questions. Oh yeah. This 10 situation is cool. I like the powers of the Wan Yudo guy. It reminded me a lot of like Bluno from CP9 with the Doa Doa no Mi, where he'd like anywhere he hit you turned into a door in like in East Lobby in One Piece. He's like the CP9 with like the black suit and the bullhorn haircut. Yeah. But yeah, it reminded me of that. 10 getting this like second wind or whatever. He was ready to just be submissive, like I can't fight you. First he was kind of talking shit to him, like, really, that's all your power does? And then he like got hit with the fucking, you know, whirlwind shit and puked his brains out and was like, all right, I quit, fuck it, I'm weak, you got this, brother. Like I can't do it. And then he's like, yeah, you and your friends are trash. And then he has like the, hey, wait a minute, you can say whatever you want about me, but you better not talk shit about my friends kind of moment. And that's cool, even though we've seen it a million times. It fits for 10, especially with just the events of the history of the series up until this point. So it's great that he's getting this moment right now. I have no idea what this like trump card thing that he's pulling out is. I think it's a bomb or something, because like I feel like it's not a part of any kind of ability.
Mask, I think
it's his mask.
His mask. Oh, I keep forgetting.
His mask.
Yeah, I keep forgetting about like the mask concept in this series. Okay, it's a mask. Because I was sitting here going, okay, yeah, I was sitting here like, wait a minute, because I know that his only ability
Everyone talks tough until they're exploded.
Yeah, like no, well, I mean, I definitely did think it was a bomb, but I was sitting here going like, man, like, this isn't his ability, because he was just talking about how his ability is ceiling jumping and he doesn't have a ceiling right now, so he's cooked. And then now all of a sudden he's pulling out some new thing, and I'm like, is this a technique? No, it can't be. Is this like some kind of weapon? And I just like thought bomb because of its shape, but it's totally his mask. That's hilarious.
I kind of want to see what he does with it. Like, I still think that the overpass is going to be a big part of his ability.
Damn, I didn't even realize that this dude has like fucking brake and clutch pedals on his fucking jacket. on his like
Right?
chest. Yeah, so sick.
I love it.
Yeah, the
Like
designs
I
are so
like
good.
the little Mad Maxi design. I think it's
Mad
funny that
Maxian, yeah.
his his face reminds me of the wooden fish you get from like Buddhists. The
Oh
little like
wow,
wooden bell
yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
with like with like a little like rubber tire circling it, and he
Yeah.
Yeah.
reminds me of fucking Baymax. But like the most
Baymax.
like reverse Baymax. He's like, I'm gonna bully you.
Yo, I'm Baymax.
Hi, I'm Baymax. You ain't shit.
Evil Baymax. Hilarious.
Dude, no, but like he does spit though, cause like
Yeah.
page like after 16, he's like, man, you ain't special. It's like he's like, cause I like that line on 18. He's like, I respect Kyo because Leader does. Never knew that guy that well myself. Leader called that girl his kid. Figured something big. Turns out she ain't. You're
Yeah.
just bottom rung lunatics with a death wish.
Yeah. And I love it too because it's like, okay, so clearly the point of this scene is to, you know, reinvigorate Ten in his convictions through the shit talking of his friends. Like we all know this scene, we've seen it a million times, but the dialogue on it is very organic. Like it makes sense for this one, you know, dude to be saying all of the things that he's saying from his perspective as a shitty antagonist. At least he's like using, you know, lore and the setup and the history of the storytelling to talk this shit. You know what I mean? He's not just arbitrarily saying, "Ooh, rah rah sucks. What are you gonna do about it?" You know what I mean? It's like, hey, it brought you here. I heard about all this shit through the grapevine in the underworld. Kyo was that guy. I respected the shit out of him. Now I'm hearing about you guys. Yeah, you're his daughter. Thought she was gonna be tight. Nope, you guys are all just trash.
And she relied on you guys? That
Yeah.
means she's definitely not shit.
Yeah, it's not like the
Like,
biggest thing. It's not like some like kind of like mind blowing like way to like tell a story or whatever. But I just appreciate like how organic the shit talking is.
is a great
Even though
organic
it is
delivery.
clearly being used as a plot device to power up 10, at least it doesn't feel arbitrary just for the sake of it, I guess is my point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm digging it. I do like the addition of the little like walkie-talkie tattoo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so cool. I don't know if I've ever
That's so
seen.
cool.
Tattoo.
Yeah, walkie-talkie
It really
tattoo.
is.
You
It
coined
straight
that
up
here. But yeah, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before. Communication through tattoos. It might be somewhere, but that feels really fresh and unique to me.
I mean,
It's,
I've
like,
seen
awesome.
tattoos like come off people's bodies
Yep,
and like
yep.
turn into whips or snakes,
Yeah.
like Medusa from Soul Eater, but
Yeah.
I haven't really seen a tattoo like I've seen people like, oh, I hide people as tattoos on my body and I can pop them in and out, but I've never heard of like or like, you know, there's the tattoos where like, I'm in the movie 13, I suddenly see writing on my
Yeah.
arm, you know, and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
But
like,
not this. This is new, I think. At least very new to me.
it feels original to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
I really dig this idea that like, because like the part that I thought was really cool on page 3 was like he's only an animated bolt of cloth. His outer shell wraps around an empty core. He's fast. He's got speed. Has no real durability. He can't lose his face or his heart. The engine.
Yeah.
And like Knox, you pointed out that the his engine was right over his heart. It was either you or Eagle.
I'm one of I don't remember. I don't think I remember that, so it couldn't have been me. But yeah, that's tight. That's super tight.
good.
And I like how, like I was saying earlier, about how Urara is essentially like Maruo's oracle now, which is like really cool that they have this dynamic where Maruo is a novice to this world.
Cortana.
Yeah, Cortana. You know what I mean? Maruo doesn't really know shit about the world or the kind of encounters he'll have. He has very little information on that, and Urara is obviously his intel, his like information center, and they're gonna start, you know, whenever she's not in action, which I'm assuming is going to be very like few and far between, that she busts that dagger out and has to turn into her full yokai form. I feel like it's going to be a while before that's like a regular thing for her to do. So in the meantime, it works that she's like, you know, the oracle for Maruo, give him information about the yokai that he's fighting, what their strengths and what their weaknesses are. It's just a great combo dynamic in that way, and I love the introduction of that concept through the tattoo.
It reminds me of like Megalobox, where
I didn't see
Maruo
Megalobox.
is Joe,
Mm.
and it's like a boxing manga a little bit,
Yeah,
where like
I knew
Maruo
that.
is the classic boxer, and
Yeah.
then Urarara is like the second or the coach. He's like, hey, stay in there, champ. You know, you did the first round.
Yes.
You're taking their hits. From what I've seen, you're getting your ass kicked. But you know what he has? A tendency to use his left. You know, he got
Yes. Yeah, I love it.
That kind
Love
of
it.
vibe.
Tendency to use his left.
Turns
Well,
out
yeah.
he's not actually left-handed. He's just faking you.
Hell yeah.
I think that's about all I had for Ayashimon though.
Yeah, I think I'm good too. Great chapter. Can't wait for the next
Yeah.
one, as usual.
Quick, action-packed, very flavorful, great scenes.
With a bunch of like a couple really cool new developments. So right, all of the stuff is right on time for Ayashimon, like I said.
Well, with that, I think we can go ahead and get right into chapter 120 of Mission Yozakura Family. Mission 120, Refusal.
Shit was wild, son.
Wild ass chapter, man.
Just didn't know like what to expect like at all. Like, okay, we had our ideas about how this was kind of going to go. The crew pulls up, the rest of the siblings. We see like this huge. Well, it starts off obviously with the exposition on the Kokushi Black Thread and how it works. This very epic introduction to the chapter that just shows damage in all directions in this double spread, but we don't really know exactly what happened. And then when it switches back to everyone, I'm like, yes, squad, get there and help him. He's probably going to be dead by the time you pull up, but at least you're here, you know? And then they get there and no. It's just like completely different situation. Yeah, I'm just like, wow. And I was watching Eagle's reaction. And he gets to like page 8 and 9 double spread. He's like, squad bust through. There's Kyoichiro. And he's dead. He's definitely dead.
Dude, I thought, look at him. I'm like, yo, and he's dead. He's definitely run through by a fucking tree branch or something. Like, blacked out. Like it's gonna turn. He's gonna be.
Yeah, I could totally feel it too because it's like, yeah, they're here, and you're like, yay, triumphant squad shit. But like, Kyoichiro is like not moving, and he's entirely blacked out, and you can't see his face. This is grim. And then you turn in.
It's spooky.
Yeah.
Then at page to 11 and 10, you're just like, oh, he cut them all the fuck down.
Yeah, he folded all of them, and you're like, holy shit. And they're like, they look scared of. They're like, no fucking way.
I mean, he had a power move that was 3 pages long.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just the reaction of the family too. It's like, as far as like emotion that this is conveying to me right now, it's like shock, obviously, because it's like, holy shit, you beat them all. But then it's also like, dude, what the fuck is Kyoichiro? You know, like it's just like a look of like complete disbelief of multiple things.
Right, and then Tayo obviously tries to run up. He hits him with the boom, stay away, and then he's getting like ported.
Yeah, this is wild. He's like, we probably won't ever meet again either. I'm sorry. And then he kind of like disappears into a very similar, you know, flower petal cloud. Yeah, like Momo. You know what I mean? So I wonder.
Yeah, like the dad.
The dad. Yep.
The dad has to have taken him.
Maybe the dad took him.
I think he left of his own volition.
Maybe he left of his own. Yeah.
It's really heavy because like. There is this moment where he's the last end of his ultimate attack on verse 1 through 3. End of 3. She smiles at the fact that like she's getting cut the fuck up.
That's right.
And part of me wonders if because he is disappearing in a way similar to Momo, did she like tell him something as she was like getting torn apart? And it's just like, yeah, you exert enough power, but like you've used too much summoning. You've turned your back on, like you've done more than a human should, right?
Yeah.
And so like there's the potential that he is becoming a monster, and like, you know, you're in a cave, you're in a small enclosed area with all that free floating like summoning and like Tsubomi's like plants influence. So maybe he's become a sort of host and he realizes it and he's like, hey, don't get close to me. Don't touch me. I'm not going to be good around. I'm not going to be good to be around. And I think he realizes that and like is taking himself out of the picture. And it's really kind of heavy because he talked so much shit about Momo.
Yeah.
He's like, hey man, you fucking left. You know, where were you for the family? You're not my dad. You're not family. And he's literally becoming his dad.
Yeah, straight up.
He
And
literally became his dad. He left just the same way as his dad.
which makes me think that, like, okay, so maybe it's a situation where, and this is like a lot of guessing and a lot of like filling in a major gap that like has yet to have anything filled into it at all for me to go off of. But as far as like, well, I want to kind of like focus on what you just said first about how he's like literally turning into Momo. This is a really cool situation because if Kyoichiro really has like had all of this resentment and animosity towards Momo for his mysterious like disappearance and his shady dealings since disappearing and whatnot, and this is a situation where he's found himself in a similar situation that maybe Momo had found himself in earlier while dealing with whatever threat or whatever obstacle Tsubomi was to him at the time or something, and then he found himself in a very similar situation, and then after a confrontation very similar to this, made the same decision that Kyoichiro is making right now. Like there's like a missing piece of information that ties all of this together, but there has to be like a very legitimate personal reason why Kyoichiro is behaving exactly like Momo, despite the fact that he hates Momo for what he did and how he acts. Like I strongly believe that Kyoichiro would not literally be mimicking exactly what he hates about his dad right now if there wasn't a very legitimate personal reason that makes all the sense in the world for at least Kyoichiro and maybe us too whenever we get the exposition for it. But I think it might have been a situation like maybe he's fighting them and maybe there's some kind of conversation that's had before this final attack that's like, hey, even if you kill us, like it's not going to be enough. Like you can go ahead and destroy all of these bodies or whatever, but then you'll become a host in some kind of way, or maybe you can trade and then like we'll go away and you just take our spot as host, and then it's you and Momo working under Tsubomi or something, and we stop fucking with the family in some other kind of way. It's like a trade because they want Mutsumi, right?
Yeah.
For some specific reason that only makes sense for her, so then maybe they wouldn't trade for Kyoichiro. I'm just trying to like think about how it makes sense that he's willingly leaving right now in a very similar way to Momo.
I feel like maybe they did that thing, you know, where they take like a small stone around their thumb and they just shoot it like a marble. It's like a seed, and they just hit Koichiro while he's like mid-attack, gets him like right in the chest, and it's like, doesn't matter if you cut us down.
You're gonna be one of us anyway by the time you leave
can
here.
Grow in any kind of field, and you're a rich flower bed, man. You've got the chops. You've got skill, talent. You're gonna make a beautiful flower grow. You know, that kind of thing. And he's like, fuck. I realize the implications of that, and now I have to go.
Yeah, I like it either way because, like, if it is a situation where, you know, Kyoichiro is making this decision to kind of be the same way as Momo, then that's going to be really cool for his character to think about it like, man, I've hated this man for so long. Whole time he probably had a great reason for doing, or not great reason, but just like a reason that's more understandable than what I've been assuming. And he's not willing to explain it to me, just like I'm not willing to explain it to my siblings right now in this moment. So whatever that fucking reason is has got to slap so hard for the lore of Mission Yozakura family. And that's like obviously on everybody's mind. Like that's the next thing I want to see. That's the answer I want. You know what I mean? So it's doing its job there. But that's just such a crazy development to get here. Like I did not think that Mission Yozakura family was going to have me thinking this deep. And that just goes into what I was saying a couple weeks ago about how like we've been in slice of life family centric storytelling for so long that's so character driven, and I almost like forget how deep and dramatic the overarching plot narrative can be and is. It's like, holy shit, so much has kind of happened since we came out of that slice of life stuff and went back into this main plot stuff. And it's like, man, it's almost like sensory overload.
Yeah, it goes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit of whiplash, but it's been a long time coming. It's been cooking, and
I love how Futaba comes in.
What's going on?
Futaba's like, yo, Kyoichiro, I don't blame you for getting carried away this time, but like, what did you just do to your own sibling just now? And like I love that line just like by itself, and I just love Futaba, but I had to sit and think about it for a second, and I was like, wait a minute, what sibling did he attack? And I'm like, oh, yes, Tayo, but like it took me a second because like I just like when she said sibling, I just like automatically think of the blood siblings. You know what I mean? And then like yeah, retroactively coming back and going, oh, it's Tayo, obviously. That's like just like makes it a little bit more wholesome that Futaba's like, yo, just talking to Tayo as a sibling. I don't know if I remember Futaba ever addressing Tayo as a sibling before. No. I'm sure it's happened.
They said welcome to the family, that kind of thing.
Yeah, besides that, they're like, yeah, but usually, you know, like they'll just like call him, like refer to him as like Tayo or something or whatever. But like seeing like, yo, you just hit your fucking sibling, like you just hit your brother, like what are you doing? I was like, oh shit. Fuck yeah.
No, I love that because that little like I had to look back and look at like the double spread on 1450 and I was like, oh, his middle finger is actually a little fucked up. Like just the tip of his finger cut, and I was like, that's enough. That's enough. I mean, what was one of the main family rules was we all get along and we never turn on each other. That's the point. Like
Yep.
But man, I think Kyuichiro's in the early stages, right? Like his blossoms look like the leaves look different than Tsubomi's leaves, right? Like either they are a different variation, or they are in like a nascent stage of development, right?
Oh, sure. I guess I never really noticed the difference there. Yeah.
The squad he just murked, you know, they have like these pure white Sakura, but like Kyuichiro's has still got that kind of like ephemeral vibe to it. Like it's still shaded.
Yeah, Tsubomi's petals look like clearly drawn, whereas Kyoichiro's look like low opacity, you know, renders of like, you know, images of petals that have just had like most of their opacity taken away and like laid over the drawing almost. Kind of what it feels like. They're just like straight screen tones, which is a difference for sure that I didn't even like think about it like that. I wonder why that's a difference or if there's any real meaning behind that.
I'm just not getting the vibes that like these guys are out of here really at all. Like they have regenerative properties, and to me I'm more so getting the vibe that like Momo kind of from a distance was observing the situation and saw that it might have been going south for the Tsubomi side.
Sure.
And chose to kind of strategically extract the whole situation, and is now going to like symbiotically infect Kyoichiro, or somehow they're going to bring him over to their side, and it is going to be like a Momo and Kyoichiro on the same side kind of thing.
Oh man, yeah, and it could totally just have been like a like we're strong on our own, like we'll beat you, but if you like somehow beat us, then like the dissipation of our ephemeral forms will then be, you know, inhaled by you or something, or they'll go into you in some kind of spore like effect that is now, and then Kyoichiro probably like realized that after defeating him, like holy shit, they're taking me over right now, I blew it, they wanted this, like, or they had an answer for me just completely obliterating them with Steel Spider. And it's like so like now that I've kind of like put the pedal to the metal, you know, and just brashly dispatch them, now I have made myself like my father, and now I get it. Now I see how deep this shit is. I need to get away from my family while I figure this out.
That I like that idea. It's very insidious, and I feel like you guys are on the right track of that stay, because I'm looking at when he's just like, oh hey, you know, because like on the bottom of 12 you can see the dissipation and like all the particles of like the Sakura petals, but they don't dissipate really that much further than Kyoichiro, right? They kind of stop at him, and then there's like a little other particle effects, but I'm kind of chalking that up to debris falling down. They don't seem as So when he's like, stay away, creates that space. And when he's looking at Futaba and like not really answering them, just looking at that giant swirl of Sakura like miasma coming around them, swirling around him. And then, because they're saying like, oh man, in a few seconds all of them will fade away. And I think what Kyuichiro did is that he basically absorbed the rest of it into his body and used it to. He's seen Momo do it enough times. He's like, I know it can happen. I can do it. Anything he can do, I can do. He got sloppy as a monster. I'm just a human, but like I can do it.
Yeah.
And so he just uses that, basically brings it all to him and escapes into as himself as like his last act of himself, which I feel like he understands, but he doesn't know how to tell them. And so he just boils it down. It's like, we probably won't ever meet again. Either.
Yeah.
And he's like, when you meet me, I'm not there.
Yeah.
That won't be me.
Yeah, I just like the idea that they were just like ready to lose, and if they ran into, you know, a sibling that could beat them, then they'll just turn them into the next Momo. Like, I just think that that's like so cool to think about as a part of their plan. It just makes them so much deeper than they already were. For me, is like, oh yeah, like we'll whoop you if we can, but if you can beat us, then we'll just make you another Momo. And then the idea that Kyoichiro realized that as they were busting through the roof, like, oh shit, they had a trump card. They were expecting this. They had a plan for this. I fucked up because I was being too brash. Well, see you later, guys. I don't want this to possibly extend to the rest of you. Maybe this is why my dad was being as weird as he was. Maybe he's secretly trying to defeat Tsubomi, but knows that, like, if he doesn't work directly with them, that they'll get to the family quicker. So he's like, Momo probably found himself in a very similar situation, got, you know, surrounded by so many, and after defeating Tsubomi or something, turned into a pawn in this kind of similar way, and was like, okay, I need to stay away from my family until I figure out what I need to do to beat this bitch. And now Kyoichiro is getting nosy, and that's probably has a lot to do with why Momo's being very, like, you know, sketchy and backdoor when it comes to Kyoichiro, because Kyoichiro is going to fuck up his own plan, and now Kyoichiro is literally just following in those same footsteps, because that's just how cold of a unit these Tsubomi descendants are, that you're either a part of them, or you don't know enough about them, kind of thing. It just makes them so scary.
That's a great defense mechanism. Like, not defense mechanism, but like a propagation effect.
Yes.
Right? So as a host for Tsubomi, if you get killed by something and they are a Yozakura, because it works specifically on Yozakuras, if a Yozakura is able to defeat a host, they run the risk of becoming the very next host as like a propagation technique, so that the hosts, there will always be a host for Tsubomi.
But that makes me wonder then, because didn't they defeat a descendant already? Didn't Futaba whoop one, or did she just keep them from dying against one, and then that one, like, you know, disappeared and then went back to the group? I can't remember exactly what happened with that one
that
little
looked
arc.
like
Futaba, or no,
the one that looked like the cat-faced one.
Oh, Kengo.
Kengo, there we go.
Yeah.
I was thinking Kengo, and I doubted myself. I was like, no, that's the buff one. No, that's not right.
Or Shinzo.
No, it is...
Shinzo, you mean? Yeah, Shinzo's the buff
Shinzo's
one.
the buff one.
Yeah.
But Kengo, the one that looked like Kengo, because they had that haunted house that was eating people.
Yes. Did they actually beat that descendant? I'm pretty sure that descendant had them dead to rights until Futaba activated, and then she just kept them alive, and then that one, like, bounced. I don't think they actually defeated one.
You know, I think that will warrant a bit of a reread, because I want to see if there was differences, because, like, if they immediately bolted after defeating the person, because, like, the building started to, like, crack and stuff, they're like, oh, this building's breaking, we need to get the fuck out of here. And the, like, proximity, because the Kengo descendant ancestor was, like, high up on the wall, so they wouldn't be directly on them.
Right.
So, like, there could have been a chance of, like, that infection, and then they just managed to dodge it.
Something like that. Yeah, definitely let us know in the comment. I mean, I'm going to go back and look at it, like, after the conversation at some point, probably, but just for the sake of conversation. Let us know in the comments section if that situation was like an actual defeat or if it was like a stalemate and then the descendant left. Can't remember right now. Don't remember what chapter it is, but yeah.
Because the ancestor didn't like Tsubomi, period. They were like, I hate this. I have to do this. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so then that could be evidence to support kind of what we've been talking about as like reasons why Momo isn't saying anything about what's going on and being so mysterious, and now Kyoichiro is now doing the same thing. There has to be some kind of like, I feel like it's right there. I feel like the missing piece is like right there, man. Yeah.
What if Tsubomi's not allowing them to say more?
Maybe. In some kind of way, either
in the host faction, within the host faction, there's two groups. There's the group that is resentful of Tsubomi, and there's the group that's like, yeah, we bought into it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you can verbalize your frustration with Tsubomi as a descendant, then like, why can't you just say the rest? Yeah, like if you can voice, like, if you can say, I don't like Tsubomi, I don't like working for her, then why couldn't you just be like, yo?
I feel like it's a difference between expressing an opinion and like.
Yeah. Giving away the keys, yeah.
Tweeting tactical information.
Yeah, no way.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's a difference between tweeting, it's like, Panchero's on such and such street sucks, but like, tweeting, oh yeah, people are here at this location.
Yeah,
it's
a little bit different. Yeah, no, you're totally right. You're totally right. But I was wondering if it was like a physical, like I literally can't say anything because she has that much influence over me, or if it's like I can't say anything because she's gonna whoop me when I get back to the crib. Like, I want to know like what that is, like what's stopping anything. If she really doesn't like her position and doesn't like working for Tsubomi, I wonder why she is. You know what I mean? Like, what's making her? What's forcing her to? But anyway,
I don't know. I mean, the whole blossoms and stuff seem really integral. It's built into their whole physiology, and like the way the parasite stuff kind of seemed, it like infused their entire body, which could include their nervous system. So like the plant might be like reading pulses through their nervous system and being like, no, we don't want that. This crosses a certain threshold of activity of things that we don't like. We've been doing this for aeons, generations, however long. It's like,
with such a
these
like
rocks were dirt,
that makes sense. Since it's such like a spiritual and biological kind of like phenomenon happening with the Somenin and like the Tsubomi like consciousness stuff. So it could be something like what you're talking about right now, just because of how interconnected Tsubomi is with whoever she's influencing. You know what I mean? So it can totally, I could totally see that. Yeah,
it's just kind of crazy because like, I thought Koichiro was dead smart by like negating the Somenin regeneration by having like a Somenin solution soaking his wires.
Right.
And I was like, hell yeah. You've got the fix, you've got the angle.
Yeah.
Good. Executed perfectly.
You've got the hockey for the Logia.
Right. And it's just like, and that wasn't enough? Okay,
right.
What's the trick? What's the counter trick? Like, what did he not account for? And I really want to know.
Yeah, that's the next
other than that,
one.
I don't have too much. This is a very, 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 very straightforward chapter that just leaves a lot of open-ended areas.
Yeah. It's very, very easy to follow, very to the point up until the end with that very mysterious, thought-provoking cliffhanger. But I think we got a nice chunky combo out of it, despite that.
Yeah.
Can we just appreciate some of these like spreads? Like
the
spread on 1819, just looking at the just sheer amount of like devastation aftermath of Black Spider.
Yeah. Shit, the fucking opening one with like the explosion of Steel Spider, the black thread, like that shit. The some things have a blur to it, some things don't. It really creates that like, chaotic 360 degrees of damage kind of aesthetic that the drawing is clearly kind of, trying to convey. It's just like does everything perfectly.
Perfect AoE, like in action. Like I love the whole going back and forth between 2-3 and the 18-19, just seeing like during action and then like post action scene of that stuff. But then I feel like Koichiro has been infected because those attacks wash through the host squad.
Yeah.
And they're smiling.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah.
That's 100%.
And I'm just like, too easy.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
Way too easy. Yeah, we didn't see a single attack from them. They just like took this attack and then just like grinned their way into dissipation. And it's like, nah, you definitely jumped into you jumped into my boy. But yeah, I'm good on Yozakura family this week.
I think I am too. Well, with that, I think we can go ahead and jump right into chapter 177 of Jujutsu Kaisen. Sendai Colony, part 4.
We in Sendai. Yuta.
Yeah.
Big Yuta versus Ishigori and Uro. This shit is wild, son.
It was a firefight. Oh man, I love Ishigori's like style. You know what I mean? Like he's got like, I know we talked about it in Ayashimon where Kotan has machismo, but Ishigori has fucking machismo.
It's like every delinquent character that you've ever loved, all wrapped up in like one character with a fucking spirit gun coming out of his pompadour. That's just wild. It's just like he's a living reference of like that entire archetype.
Yeah, he's like the combination of like Togashi's Kuwabara, but with like the mental maturity and like style of Crollo.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was just like, man, this is the most Togashi-ass character I've ever seen.
Yeah, Crollo, Knuckle, Kuwabara, Yusuke.
Yes.
Metal Bat. It's like all of those characters in one. All of those were Togashi except for one.
Yeah. No, like I feel that I feel like Ishigori's a bit of a love letter to that kind of character.
Yeah, straight up.
But I love his philosophy. Like, it's like, I did everything right by the books. You know, for my societal norms, I followed them. I was a good man by all metrics that existed at the time, and I still wasn't happy. I was dead and had regrets.
Yes. Gege is just such a good character designer and writer, like in general. Whenever new characters are introduced in Jujutsu Kaisen, I always get so excited because not only are the designs always great, so we get to look at them and love what they're doing in our faces at the moment when they're introduced. And then whenever Gege decides to focus on them writing-wise, we always just get like this really deep, philosophical, you know, different kind of character than we've seen before. And all in like a very short amount of time. Like he can pack so much charm and charisma and character, you know, in a very quick amount of time. Like we just fall in love with these characters right away. Like Uro and Ishigori are just like amazing off top.
It's like Higuruma
no time
all
at all.
over again.
Yeah, exactly. Higuruma, instant classic. Like Gege just knows how to drop back-to-back classic characters all the time. Even the characters that aren't as significant as, you know, others just like have so much impact, you know, whenever they're focused on.
It's just like, even characters that are super minor, like the helicopter squad, they were cool. They got packed, but like they were still cool in the moments that they were there. And then the characters that don't get packed immediately, I'm just like, okay, you're pretty fucking cool. Like I didn't like Reggie as a person. He was a really cool fighter. He was a great tactician. I respected the shit out of his ability.
Yeah.
I didn't like him at all, but like I respected the fact out of his ability. Like he was competent.
There's
like,
rarely ever
competent.
There's rarely ever characters in Jujutsu Kaisen whose entire point is to just be a moment of flex for like another character. Like what little dialogue, like even fodders have. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like sometimes you'll see a character that really didn't do anything and just got like dunked on real quick just for the sake of showing growth in another character. I think we could probably find an example of that in Jujutsu Kaisen. But by and large, I want to say for the most part, even if it's a very quick exchange with someone who had no chance against Yuji or Megumi or something, Like, we always get something. Either we always learn more about Megumi or whatever character's being focused on that's trouncing, you know, the fodder character, or they give us some kind of information that gives us a better idea of like how the world of Jujutsu Kaisen works or something. There's always some plan for the character besides just go out there and get evaporated. And I love that about JJK.
Yeah. And this feels like a classic ass Jujutsu Kaisen fight to me, where it's like it kind of gives us just a little bit of everything that we want out of the fights. Like, it gives us the sick ass choreography, gives us the flashy attacks, the
dynamic paneling,
application of abilities and powers within the fight.
Yes.
Dynamic paneling, like you said.
Yes.
And then especially to me, what stands out is like on page 4, when they're literally having this just like exchange of choreography, and like these two bottom panels where they're literally both just getting like a devoted monologue where they're like analyzing each other. Oh, yes. It's just so fucking sick.
His output's high and he releases cursed energy with near instantaneous explosiveness. His movements are fast and precise. If I don't guard well, even I'd take damage. Whoosh! He supports with his toughness with his cursed energy. It's like I'm knocking against a massive water tank, both acknowledging each other's fighting styles and strengths as they're throwing hands. They love this shit, even though it's tense for both of them. And the way that it's conveyed through more than just smiles and laughter is just like... It's that deepness that you can expect from Jujutsu Kaisen at this point.
Yeah.
Even the like inner monologue, like breakdown of each other's abilities, kind of shows their like thinking style, right? Like the way they think. Like, dialogue is indicative of thought, and I like that it's very distinctive. Ishigori is prone to metaphor. Like, the entire time, he's like, my life never had a dessert. If you tell a kid not to eat a feast, would they actually listen? It's like hitting a water tank, and he only thinks in metaphors.
Oh,
he's like, yeah, whatever, life's a metaphor. He's waxing poetic all the time. And Yuta's like analytically just like, all right, cool. High release, high impact, sharp, precise. Okay, cool. I need to keep this up.
Yeah, that's a really cool thing to point out, is like they're both kind of doing the same thing in their analysis of the other fighter, but one of them frames and positions their analysis in a very practical, to the point way, and another one speaks, a little bit more poetic, which is indicative of his personality as an old-time sorcerer,
and a romantic.
And a romantic,
like, this guy is definitely a romantic. He's like, I met a woman, a good woman. We did stuff, and I lived my life the best I could, but it just wasn't enough to satisfy me. And I'm just like, God, you are the most machismo romantic dude ever. This is hilarious.
Yes.
It's just like, that's crazy. And I really like the culmination of like, because then they have the breakdown of like them analyzing each other, and then they have this moment where they're about to do the same move on each other, and they have that kind of like when you fight someone, you understand them a little better, and they have like a conversation without words, where they have like, why am I unsatisfied? And Yuta is like understanding him as he's fighting him, and he's like, I think that kind of moment. And then they hit the little back hip, like the little Chinese bagua kind of like
the Shen. It's the Shen shoulder check, bro. The Shen shit.
The kung fu body check.
Yes.
Except they're using cursed energy, and he's just like. I just heard the sound of like a dodgeball like hitting someone's face, like, just as Yuta goes flying.
Yo, that's hilarious with that sound effect there. Wow.
I had that moment. I was like, Whong!
Yeah. I love the follow through. The follow through in the. That's another thing that I love about like Gege's choreography, is that whenever like someone is like hit afar, there's always a panel that shows the follow up of the person like not trying to miss a beat and trying to take advantage of every moment, just like chasing him through, his trajectory after the shoulder check so that he can follow up with another joint.
Just like bouncing, and we get Ishigori like.
I love that shit in choreography, bro. I don't know why. That's like one of my favorite, panels to get in fight
I
choreographies. I just knocked you out of
I
the park, but
absolutely
I'm
love it.
still on your heels. You know what I mean?
Yeah, never let up, right? Like the fight's
Yeah.
not over till it's over. Why would I let you get up? Why would
Yeah.
I let you have a Sailor Moon transformation
Right.
scene? Get the fuck out of here.
And then
Go down.
he
Stay
shoots
down.
he shoots the pompadour granite blast at him, and he blocks it with his bare hands. And he even like makes a comment like, "Damn, he's even doing shit like that. God damn, this dude's a fucking tank." And he goes back to hit him. It's like a perfect like exchange of advantage and disadvantage throughout
Hmm.
this fight that also work as like little mini subversions of our expectations, because what's so cool about this situation is that Yuta is wildly overpowered, and he's been built up as wildly overpowered pretty much the entire time he's been in Jujutsu Kaisen, and even a little bit before his reintroduction in Jujutsu Kaisen. We knew he was broken from volume 0 as well. So this is all just going into how invincible, Yuta kind of seems, especially with the comparisons to Gojo and shit like that. So we're like,
Hmm.
this dude's just going to run through the culling games. And then to have these two characters introduced that not only seem to be able to hang with him physically, but are also then excited about all of the things about him that make him wildly overpowered and broken. It just creates all of these kind of like little mini stakes inside of his bouts. You know what I mean? It's like, is he actually going to win? We can be pretty, safely assume that. But it's like you have this character who not only has like one of the craziest reserves of cursed energy we've ever seen, but one of the highest outputs of cursed energy we've ever seen, plus reverse curse technique. And they're like happy to be fighting him, not just because they're like arrogant warriors looking for a good fight, but also because they seem to have plans and answers for what he has in his kit, which just like brings the tension levels up so high and the uncertainty up so high about how this is going to finish. Because yeah, we want to assume Yuta's going to win because he's broken, but his enemies don't seem like they care about how
They're not
broken he is.
slumps.
Yeah,
They're
and
not
they're
chumps.
they're wildly
Uh,
strong in their own right, but also like they know like that this dude has a lot going on, and they're like ready for it. So it's like, how is this
they
going to
live
go?
for that kind of stuff. It's
Yeah,
interesting because it shows this sort of mentality because like um I feel like it's a case of real recognizes real kind of moment for them. And like the idea that if you're good at something and you meet someone that is also good at a similar enough thing,
yeah,
you bond over that. You're like, oh hey, respect,
yeah,
like game recognizes games effectively. And I
yeah,
feel like for them, being a jujutsu sorcerer, being deadly at combat, being able to effectively wield their techniques and then also break down the techniques of others
yeah,
is exciting to them because even Uro steps in and says, "You're tough and that's good because I've decided to toy with you."
yeah. I think this is also like really clearly showing us the difference between modern day sorcery and Heian period sorcery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like Yuta is a god and an unstoppable, overwhelming force of nature, just in general, sure, but like mainly from the perspective of modern day sorcerers. The fact that like these back in the day sorcerers see everything that's going on with Yuta and aren't worried in the slightest, and in fact are really excited about it, like I was saying, not just because they're arrogant,
Mm-hmm.
strong warriors that are looking for a good fight, but because this doesn't seem too crazy to them based on their experience. You know what I mean? Like they
Based
have
off their
answers.
cultural
Yeah,
expectations.
they have
Yeah.
answers for everything that he's doing. Like they're just a completely different kind of sorcerer.
They
That,
came from an era that recognized Sakuna.
yeah, exactly.
Like
Like
an
these
active
were,
Sakuna.
yeah, they're
They're
from
just like, yeah,
yeah,
whatever, man. You're not Sakuna. Like, I
they're
don't
from
give
a
a shit.
different time where sorcerers were just tighter generally, like across the
Mhm.
board. Like the bottom line was a lot higher.
They didn't have to hide themselves either. They were
Yeah,
just there.
yeah. Which is just really cool to see that in like an unspoken kind of way. Like you just kind of pick up on that
Hmm.
after seeing Megumi versus Reggie. Now that we're seeing Uro and Ishigori versus Yuta, all these confirmed olden day sorcerers that are just able to have such a presence immediately after their introduction, because Gege is just that good at building his world and conveying the things
Yeah.
that he wants to convey and evoking the responses and emotions that he wants to evoke from his audience. Like you don't need to say it. We can just read between the
Yeah.
lines and see
These
that
Heian,
these Heian sorcerers were different. You know what I mean?
yeah. These
Yeah.
Heian sorcerers, they feel like they like a bit like Moreau, they're getting validation off of having at least these two specifically, right? Like Druv was whatever,
Yeah.
but like, and I can't really speak on, but Kuroshi very different.
Yeah.
But like these two in particular seem to validate themselves based on the quality of their opponents.
Yeah.
Which
Druv
makes me
was like Druv was like fodderized by Yuta or whatever, but Kuroshi was still scared of Druv. So it's like a very matchup based thing at the same time, I want to say, because Druv was probably no slouch at all, but he just had the unfortunate, misfortune of running into Yuta, who probably hard countered him in like every way from top to bottom.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
I mean, he was a Shikigami user, so he
Yeah.
was like, "Oh yeah, I need to be safe." And then Yuta just
caught
closed
him
the distance
lacking.
and
Yeah.
fucked his ass.
Yeah. But like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's probably like a matchup thing. You know what I mean? You have the proper conditions. Like Yuta probably had element of surprise to some degree too. Like who knows? Like Yuta's not really like one about like honor, like square up on your own too and see me like man to man, mano a mano, and let's have this be a fair fight. If Yuta catches you lacking, he'll cut your head off before you even know where he is. Like I'm totally confident that that's the kind of person that he is, especially inside of a situation like the Culling game. So who knows exactly how that situation went down, but at the end of the day, Kuroshi, who gave Yuta a pretty hard time, was worried about Druv, who Yuta one-shot effortlessly. You know what I mean? So it's levels to this shit,
Ah, man. I love this little interaction where he punches Ishigori right in the pompadour. He does the shit, like blasts him with the pompadour as he's doing it. You can see him fly. You can see his hand just absolutely fucked on like page 12. And
page
then
12 is he's missing fingers and shit.
He's missing fingers. He's got like he looks like Deku after doing like tapping into All for One early on.
Yeah, one
Comes
for
back,
all.
you see him. Yeah, one for all.
Yeah.
And you can see him standing up on page 17. His hand is starting to get better. He's already got fingers, and then by page 19, both hands are fine.
Yep. It's that
It's
RCT, baby. That's that RCT. But
CRT, you can't kill me.
I love that Uro like kind of like steps in, with her broken like sky manipulation shit. And Ishigori's like, "Get the fuck out of here, bitch. This is my fight." And she's like, "Fuck you." And they kind of like tussle a little bit. So like that adds to, how fun this situation is, that even though it's 2v1 against Yuta, the opposing party isn't entirely getting along all that well either. So it's like that's a potential, something that Yuta can exploit to like pull out the W, but also it just like adds depth to this duo. You know what I mean? That they're not just like in tandem working together to like beat Yuta. It's like, no, there's like some pride involved. Like they want to be the one to do it for their own reasons and get the hell out of my way while I do it type shit. I like situations where, the antagonists are always together and like have like a family bond and will do anything for each other. I like those situations too, but I also really like it when there's infighting in the antagonist.
There's individualistic, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So with the Sendai colony stuff, this is slightly in the past chronologically, right?
I think so,
like,
yeah. I don't
this is
have
pretty
the timeline
early.
Memorized, but this is not happening, like the events of this arc are not happening like in linear time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bouncing
So,
around.
do you guys think that he's going to like basically beat the brakes off these people? And then right before he like potentially does like the killing blow because he wants their points, the little floaty dudes pop up and they're like, "A new rule has been added. You can give people your points instead of murdering them." And he's just like,
oh,
because like their personalities are like, to me, indicative of like they care about the fight. Uro seems like proud and arrogant and like seems to only specifically fight sorcerers. Even Yuta was like asking questions like, "So like, who have you been killing?" Basically, like, have you been killing civilians? Are you a threat to the greater world? And if he has a chance, he's like, "You know what? You're a good fight. You want more fights? Fight with me. I'm gonna fight against Kenjaku. Like, I'm going for Kenjaku. That's one of the heaviest fights of all. If you thought I was fun, stick with me." but give me some of your goddamn points.
It would really depend on if, like, on just like how much more, writing we get for Uro and Ishigori before the end of the fight. Because like just based on how it's going right now, I can't see Yuta trusting them enough to be like, yo, I could just kill you right now, but how about you work for me instead? I feel like that is a little bit too trusting of Yuta in this situation. But then
Could be a binding vow.
Yeah, or it could be you could do a binding vow thing, or it could just, a couple chapters from now, or next chapter, or the chapter after. There's just that much more writing there for Uro and Ishigori that makes, Yuta and them like each other a little bit more and make that make a little bit more sense. But I mean, me personally, I think he's about to open up a domain expansion next chapter and just get these motherfuckers out of here. I think that's like, like it's like
his own.
Yeah, you don't
I've
want to
never
think.
seen his.
Yeah, and we don't know that he has one. It's not like confirmed that he has one. It's really rare still for modern day sorcerers to have them in general, and we don't have very many examples of like human sorcerers using domain expansion still. I think the only examples we have still are like, Gojo and Megumi, as far as like human sorcerers that have used domain expansion in front of us. I'm pretty sure it's just those two still. So like just based off of that, I think that it would be right on time for Jujutsu Kaisen to give us the third known human with domain expansion in our face right now inside of Yuta. But at the same time, you almost don't want Yuta to have all of this going on and a domain expansion. Like that almost feels like too much. But I honestly don't know like what else this last page could mean. Personally,
what if it's Rika's domain expansion?
I mean,
could be something like that too. But
people were acting like Rika's like the Hoover Dam of cursed energy for him. Like he has so much that he has to store some within her.
Oh, sure, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go. So like she is blocking the rest of his reserve, and he's been working on a very finite pool right now, and he's about to like let the floodgate open. That could be cool too.
Everything.
Yeah, that could be crazy too. And he also said a very similar thing to Rika when he beat Suguru Geto in Volume 0. Like he literally like said like you can have all of me, just give me what I need to beat this motherfucker. Like give me everything or whatever. It's a very similar situation. I'm pretty sure it's a callback to that now that I think about it. But yeah, originally I was like, domain expansion has to be what we're doing here. Like this is like I've never seen a more obvious setup for a page 1 domain expansion next chapter is what I thought. But now that you've kind of introduced that, Eagle, I think that feels really good too. And I might want that. I mean, I want to see a Yuta domain expansion. But I there's something in the back of my mind that's like, don't give him one. He's already too cold. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad if he come out like, yo, 10K.
Yeah, straight up. It's like, cool, go ahead and give that to me. Otherwise, I think that it would be better, maybe is what I'll say, if it is what you were saying, Eagle, and he just gets the rest of his curse energy to use and it just evaporates him that way.
I was of the mindset of what Eagle was going for, that he was like, stockpiling energy, using Rika as a stockpiling source. And he's just like, hey man, they made me deplete a lot of my energy, and I need more energy.
Yeah.
Well, especially because of what the hell's the Pompadour dude's name? Ishigori's dialogue, or his monologue rather. He's thinking, he's like, his reverse curse technique is a problem, but it consumes a lot of cursed energy. He used it every time. Kudorushi, Udo, and I used our big moves, and I think you're finally bottoming out.
Yeah.
Okotsu.
Yeah.
And then that leads right into the last page where he's like, give me everything.
Oh, you want to know what? I think you hit it right now, because normally whenever Yuta's curse energy reserve is talked about, it's talked about as endless, period. Like there's literally like no end to it. Ishigori has not had that dialogue. He's fighting Yuta directly right now, and he's like, yo, this motherfucker has a bunch of curse energy, but he doesn't use the word endless or limitless or I can't see the bottom of it. Like usually you get that kind of dialogue, but he said things like, yeah, it's like I'm hitting against a water tank, and we've already gotten the water tank analogy in dialogue of Jujutsu Kaisen when talking about Yuta. So that lines up. The only thing that's missing is the bottomless aspect, and that's because he's not bottomless right now, because Rika is, being a dam or whatever, Eagle said. I think that's really cool, and that could be evidence for that, if that's the case. But yeah,
man, yeah.
I think overall
I feel like that's the kind of thing.
What'd you say?
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think overall that's about all I had for Jujutsu Kaisen. The only other thing I thought was like super cool was when fucking Ishigori shot the beam at Udo,
Yeah.
and she grabs the air and like spins it around.
Yeah.
Back. Dude,
That was so
shit
cool.
was
Yeah.
nasty.
We had to talk about that panel, and then the page afterwards where it shows the explosion, and she's like, "Ha!" And then you can see through her because of the sky. She's wearing the sky.
You can see the panels.
Yeah, but you can see the panel behind her because she's that see-through. Just another, visual, like really cool, creative visual cue of like the effect that her sky wardrobe has. That you can literally see the paneling behind her. That's really fucking cool.
I thought it was one of the tightest things. You can also
Yeah.
see like the clouds through her on page 17. And it's just like there's so much cool shit that comes with that. Like you can see the trees through her on the background. So I love how they she was probably digitally inserted into like scenes. Like he drew her in the pose that he wanted. He's like, this is roughly where I want her.
Yep.
Drew her, digitally inserted an overlay
Absolutely.
to make it nice and smooth. And I'm all about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely like a layer thing. Like when you're on the Wacom like tablet, you definitely have like stationary like images on their own layer, and then you're constantly just moving things on top until you have like the composition that you want, but still drawing everything individually all the same. But it's just easier to map the composition of your page digitally because you can do everything on layers like that.
Man.
The only other idea that I have for like what he could be like readying up on this last page is like a maximum technique. We also have the maximum. We don't have too many examples of it. We really only have maximum meteor from Jogo, and then maximum Uzumaki from Kenjaku at the end of Shibuya. Mm-hmm. But we did get like raw exposition for the concept of maximum techniques. Oh yeah, and Mai's bullet is a maximum technique too. I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a maximum technique too. But that is an area of the power system that Yuta could potentially be tapping into right now with Rika. So I think those are all the strongest possibilities. Domain expansion, Yuta is my dam, and I'm now going to open that and have the rest of my cursed energy reserve, or maximum technique, which is really a combination of both of those options at the end of the day. But
I wonder, because I feel like I think it's like, because I feel like she's definitely going to bring in a ton of energy, but
no matter what,
the ring seems like a new addition to his abilities, and it.
Oh, as far as how the ring works with his cursed energy, because he's had the ring. He's definitely had the ring in Volume 0.
Yeah. I know that he's just like, oh yeah, no, marry me when you grow up, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, is she gonna show up like fully manifest herself? Like his maximum ability is that he fully manifests Rika, because like in the fan translation it says, "Give me all of you."
Okay.
As opposed to "Give me everything."
Sure.
And so I think it'd be interesting if she fully manifested in a fucking like
in a way that we've never seen
white
before.
Dress.
Yeah.
The full fucking bridal dress, like Ghost Bride, just
fuck.
full on, just like
it's like not demonic monster. It's like final form, like Frieza, basically, where you're just like
it's
aesthetically
like final form Rika,
yeah.
Where she's like part ghost, part like it's just like that moment, like dun dun dun. Except for it's "Here Comes the Bride."
Yeah.
That's the vibe I'm going for. Because like when you were talking about domains, the thing that immediately popped into my head was that he literally just builds a church, and they have to fight in a church. Like he creates this. His domain would be a space, and then he would be, dressed up in a suit, and that would reinforce his thing with using cursed energy, and Rika would be there dressed in like a veil and everything, and they would just tag team the two of them.
That'd be pretty crazy to think about, actually, as far as like what his like domain expansion would look like, because domain expansions at the end of the day are just like, hyper concentrated extensions of your curse technique, right? And like, what is his curse technique again? Like the ability to copy other curse techniques.
Ooh,
so like well, I guess now that I think about it, it's I guess I just don't know like what that would look like as a domain expansion. That's his curse technique, right? Is copying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Well, it says
yeah.
he's just really like skilled at
Well, I mean, in
manipulating
Volume
curse
Zero, he
energy.
was copying, Inumaki Toge's like curse
Mhm.
speech, and like he was
He
doing
even
all that.
copied Gojo's like purple for a second.
Oh, I don't remember that, but
I
man, I
think he
should
did.
reread Volume
He
Zero.
mimicked it. He did the like same hand sign that Gojo did
Oh
for like his
shit.
repulsion ability.
Oh, tight, tight.
At one point. So like I definitely see him copying other people's abilities, and so maybe he's like, Rika, give me everything. Gets a ton of cursed energy, and then just starts firing off just
Yeah.
technique haymakers. He's like, okay, Inumaki's, Gojo's, fucking Mai's ability.
Or just Ishigori and Uros right now just starts using their techniques against them in some kind of way. Maybe give me everything is like give me the rest of my kit back, because he hasn't copied a technique since his reintroduction into Jujutsu Kaisen. So maybe give me everything is like my full range of Jujutsu capabilities, including my copying technique and on top of huge amounts of energy that you're about to unleash for me, no matter what. At the end of the day, regardless of what form this, whatever form his next attack takes, at the end of the day, he's going to get a massive influx of cursed energy from Rika.
Yeah.
And that's either going to form in the shape of a domain expansion, a maximum technique, or, oh, I can copy your abilities again, or some combination of all three. Who knows? He could really go so stupid next chapter in a combination of ways.
If it's a game of matchups, like you were saying earlier, what if he just does Kuroroshi's like cockroach swarm?
Oh, Jesus.
He's just like, I have enough cursed energy that I can just manifest a swarm. Get fucked.
I want to believe that there are caveats on his copying ability that would say the user has to still be alive or something. Like, I doubt he can literally just like, I've seen your technique, I've fought against it, I'm going to keep it in the back pocket for whenever I need to use it.
He might have to have it explained to him.
Yeah, might have to have it explained to him.
Like the Crollo route, but I think that just having a deep enough understanding of the ability would be enough. And for like an analytical mind of like his, maybe he knows enough that he's like, I could copy a Granite Blast. Fuck it, like maybe not the sky thing, but like whatever the fuck that is.
I mean, if that's her technique, he can copy it. You know what I mean? Like if he wants to, like he'll bend the sky too. He'll wear sky clothes. Like he'll do like the whole shit. So, like he used fucking curse speech at like maximum output first time he ever did. He had like a whole like megaphone thing amplifying it too. I don't know where that came from. I have to reread Volume Zero. I think
just so people could hear him.
Yeah, or just like to amplify it, because I mean, like normally, just if you hear the curse speech, I'm assuming the effect of the technique works on you, but like him using a megaphone for it, I'm thinking not just makes it louder so that you can hear it, because he was pretty close to the people he was using it on at the time. I think it was literally like an amplifier for the output, not just the volume. But anyway, I'm excited to see what happens next. I think we covered all of the best logical routes for what Yuta will possibly do next chapter. I think I'm spent on Jujutsu this week. Brilliant chapter.
Well, with that, I think we can get into chapter 232 of Dr. Stone, the final chapter, Dr. Stone.
What a ride.
Man.
End of an era.
What a journey.
What a fucking ride.
It's been like, what, 5 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is like the anniversary chapter too, I'm pretty sure.
Is it really?
Yeah, which is pretty wild. Okay.
Man, that's something. This chapter. So let's just start off by appreciating just
all this color.
Bounty. 7 pages. 7 pages of color, just straight up off the bat.
Yeah, and it's just so amazing. Coming back down to earth. Yeah. And then this beautiful double spread with Senku on the top with these fucking amazing sun rays coming through on this beautiful glow effect behind him. And they all drop down, re-entering the atmosphere. Everyone's celebrating. They get the medals, the fucking Return of the Jedi ending scene. Oh yeah, and this is like 5 years later or whatever, right? Is what they go to afterwards. Yeah, that's crazy that there's a time skip too. Like, seeing all of this stuff, it's like, man, it's like I thought we were gonna get an arc for all this. Like I was so positive that we were going to defeat Y-Man, come back down, and then have a whole arc of them just like going and rebuilding the world. And then it's just like, nope, this shit is done. Here's the time skip. Here's the epilogue. Motherfuckers are getting married. It's just like so crazy to see it all, man. It's like I think back to like when Dr. Stone came out, and it's like I read that first chapter when it first debuted, and I was like, Eagle would and Kiko would fucking love this. And I like go to like Eagle and I'm like, yo, read this shit, bro. It just dropped. This up next. And then he's like, yo, that was amazing. It really is up next. And then Kiko got on it too. He's like, yeah, this shit is super fucking tight. And then I just like never went back to it until we decided to fucking like cover it. And then I like watched the anime and then like took the manga from the anime and like got caught up like by the time that we were going to start covering it shit. And I'm just thinking the whole time, like, why did I not continue reading this with everyone else? And then I don't know what I thought about it. I assumed a lot of things, and then it just became like one of the best things that I was reading throughout its runtime.
Best series that's currently been in Shonen Jump.
Yeah, I just wasn't ready for how brilliant it was going to end up being.
Okay, so I just want to touch on page 2-3. Like, it reminds me of this quote from Treasure Planet, from the Cyborg. It's like, you got the makings of greatness in you, but you got to take the helm and chart your own course. Stick to it, no matter the squalls. And when the time comes, you'll get the chance to really test the cut of your sails, show your way out. And well, I hope I'm there, catching some of the light coming off you that day.
Hey.
It's like that last line. I was just like, yes, catch the light off. Thank you.
So that's from Treasure Island that you just quoted.
Treasure Planet.
Or Treasure Planet. Yeah, it's been so long since I've seen that movie. I remember that one though. It's like the redhead dude with like the middle part and the glasses and the tank top and the suspenders. Yeah.
Now you're thinking of Atlantis.
Oh, I think I am.
Yeah, you're thinking of Atlantis, but Treasure Planet is about like a sci-fi spacefaring pirate thing.
Yeah, I swear I've seen that too, and I just like can't.
It's literally Treasure Island in space. It's that is the story.
Yeah,
but it's like
really
it's like a
but I
different
love that
rendition
movie so much.
Yeah, hell yeah. And yeah, that quote definitely fits for the 2-3 spread.
Yeah, I mean, Ryusuke is like a fucking space pirate anyway. Like he was always dressed up like Ryusuke. Yeah, I'm so bad at names all the time.
It's all good. Yeah, they're tough. It's tough sometimes.
You're picking up what I'm putting down.
Yeah, for sure.
Like he was dressed like Harlock, space pirate all the way. The thing I liked is that they got like this prize. Like they got like effectively like a Nobel Peace Prize or whatever the hell it is. It's like it's EMC squared. It's got like the Earth. It's got like the little Science Kingdom logo on that stuff. Yes. I like that Kohaku straight up fell asleep during the ceremony because it's boring to her.
Yeah, that is adorable. Wait, who is that next to Stanley?
Ryusui, right?
In between Stanley and Senku, that's Ryusui. He looks so short.
He's a little kid. He's a youngin'.
Yeah, and maybe it's just like a perspective thing because like Senku's like way farther away from the other three, and Stanley's just tall as fuck. So yeah,
dude, Stanley is a giant.
Yeah. He doesn't look short. That's just perspective. Okay. And then we have on 5 the high 5 with Tsukasa is amazing, and then the Kohaku. But then you have Luna and Kirisame, and then who's that in the middle?
I don't know
either.
Hard to say.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know why I'm like blanking on that. No, it's not Ruri because she's blonde too. Yeah, it's brown-haired, green-eyed girl. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on that. Please hit us in the comments. Hit us in the comments if you remember who that is or if you know who that is. But
okay, sure, hell ain't Suika. She's green.
Yep. Plus we get Suika like on the next page right there.
Yeah, anyway, next.
Yeah. But yeah, and then also like on this spread on the last half of the title page spread, Senku's shirt, his E equals MC squared thing, it was like tripping me out because it looks like a C instead of an E. And I think I'm just missing the horizontal line in the middle because it's covered by the scarf maybe, but it looks like it's sitting up so high or something like that. But that's got to be what it is, right? That's not like, oops, we accidentally put a C instead of an E. Yeah, but it's definitely a C, but I feel like the scarf is like covering.
It's just a smiley face. I don't know.
But we know that it's supposed to say E equals MC squared, and I'm just wondering if it's just the scarf covering the horizontal line that completes the E, or if it's actually just, that's got to be what it is. There's no way they would miss that. There's no way. There's no way that's a mistake. Okay. Anyway, I don't know why I just saw it and was like, I'm gonna say something. Yeah. But yeah, 5 years later, Taiju and fucking Yuzuriha are getting married, and they're getting married all week, and it's just everything I wanted for them. Full weekend,
baby.
Everything I wanted for them, or full weekend, whatever. But it's just like everything I wanted. I'm so glad that we're seeing that.
Yeah, that's chapter 1 payoff.
Yes.
We get Yuzuriha's parents.
Yeah.
Page 10.
I like how the mom's hair matches her fucking headphones.
Oh shit, yo. And the dad kind of looks like he could be Taiju's dad. Yeah, he just looks like Brock right now in this panel.
Yeah, old Brock.
Old Brock, yeah.
It might be Taiju's dad actually.
Oh wait, wait. No, that's gotta be Yuzuriha's parents. Because I was gonna say maybe it's Taiju's parents instead, but Yuzuriha's mom is definitely got to be her.
I mean, look at that swirl.
Yeah, the swirl. So this has to be Yuzuriha's parents.
Oh man, that's funny because that means that Yuzuriha really was just trying to bear. It's like oh god, that idea that we seek partners that resemble our parents. In
some way. Yeah. I've heard that.
And I'm just like, wow, she really did that. She's like, I'm gonna marry someone that's like my dad.
Yeah, wow. If that is like a Riichiro and Boichi kind of telling us that low key unspokenly, then that's really cool. But
funny.
Stanley and Yo got the real blickies this time, you know what I'm saying? The real 9 millis and shit, the real Glock hours, no more Stone World Glocks and shit.
No more top revolvers and shit.
Yeah.
I like how they're shooting down gifts or balloons and stuff just for fun.
Yeah.
I like that Chelsea came in and brought wedding gifts, and she's like polish, and boom.
Yeah.
Who needs a ring? We got minerals, baby.
Chelsea's so good. I fucking love Chelsea.
Oh yeah.
And now Kohaku's like, yo, Ruri, you and Chrome, you know what I'm saying? What's good? And then Ruri's like, well,
she's
about
I already
that.
said yes.
Yeah.
I already said yes. Don't worry about it.
Chrome just pulls up and is like, check it out. I know that I've never actually made a move on you, and that's been a running gag the whole time, but now that we're all done with all this shit, we're gonna get married when we're done with all this, right? We can skip the games, we can stop bullshitting. I was like, all right, bet.
Hey girl, I help save the world. You wanna just go?
Yeah, ready to be my wife now that I am bona fide planet saver.
Bona fide science man in a suit.
Yeah. Right.
Real manly man. I ain't no caveman no more.
Yes. And then Tsukasa, we can just count on him to be that moral, philosophical, poetic writing, wrapping up a lot of the emotional side of things when it comes to all of the conflicts that we've kind of seen throughout the series. Hyoga, Zeno, and I once bloodied our hands to prevent the rebirth of the old world's hierarchies. But at this point, the idea of such a grim future is a distant memory. So much growth in that. So much that really just shows the progression of the writing thematically throughout Dr. Stone. Just inside of Tsukasa, just real quick dialogue bubbles for him. Love that.
They are right though.
Yeah.
Once you get to a point of civilization, you're gonna have rules, you're gonna have laws, and just because it happened during a time of chaos doesn't mean you're gonna get away with that shit.
Yeah.
And it's they're we killed a lot of people.
Yeah. The world was shitty, and we saw this as a way to reset and not have the world be so shitty as we bring it back to life. But at the end of the day, it's just because the world got to a point where it was so shitty using these rules,
it was easy to do this,
doesn't mean that rules aren't important. And I understand that now.
Yeah, no, it's crazy because it would be the Stone World version of war crimes. Effectively, it's just hey, you know what? You killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
yeah, and Hyoga's even
forgiven by the main cast.
Yeah, and Hyog is like, once law and order is established in the new world, we will likely find ourselves judged and condemned. And he's just like resigned himself to that. And Ukyo looks at him like, bruh, you helped save the fucking world with us at this point, man. Like, yeah, like what you did was like shitty, but we like brought everyone back to life with Dr. Stone anyway. So like, it's all good, man. Like, no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
Like, you're on the winning team. You're a part of, the saviors that are the reason why we're all here right now in the first place. So I'm pretty sure it's all
If there's
good.
anything
Man.
I've learned from the anime manga community is that everybody loves a good old fashioned war criminal.
I thought you were gonna say redemption arc.
Oh
But
no!
you said war criminal, and I'm screaming.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah. So this page turn into like hot Senku was just like, holy fuck.
Funny as hell.
Why is this a thing again?
I feel like she is a fan of Senku, and it's funny that like you've gotten to a level of popularity and fame that people are just emulating you.
Yo.
Like, because he even says mistaken identity.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he's like, oh, you're not actually Senku. No, I'm just a Senku wannabe.
Yes.
Huge fan.
Yes.
Oh man. And then I like how they're like just breaking Gen's mind, talking about like the various things that the Medusa is able to just like the rules of physics that it just breaks.
Yeah. This was cool to like get like a further breakdown of like exactly how like the Medusas work. It's like they're basically just like altering the mass of whatever it is they're targeting, whether it's themselves or other things. They lower mass when they need to fly. They raise mass when they want to petrify. All that is cool. But I read this manga weekly for the last couple of weeks, or at least since the start of this arc, with a couple of my buddies who are like big time physics guys. And my homeboy Jacob like read this explanation about the Higgs field, and reducing its mass or weight to 0 allows it to fly. Sounds good to us, but apparently to people who understand physics a little bit deeper than your average reader, like my homeboy Jacob was like, no, mass 0, that would not be the effect of having no mass. It would be like completely different. Like, I don't remember exactly how he worded it, but apparently if your mass goes to 0, it's not, you wouldn't get the effect of just hovering above ground slightly. Like, it would be a whole host of other like wild and crazy things. So it's not really a gripe. I mean, for me anyway, like
I'm not a science nerd.
Yeah, like I'm not a science nerd like that, but I mean, like at the end of the day, like we can come to expect like really close to perfect science and like scientific explanations for things that happen in Dr. Stone, and the fact that they're like making us suspend a lot more disbelief than we usually do in Dr. Stone for the ending can be, kind of irritating to people, I want to assume. But like my philosophy on it is like, yeah, even though like time machine and Medusa, functionality, even though all of these things seem kind of weird compared to the consistency of scientific realism that we've had throughout the course of Dr. Stone's publication history, like I'm happy that it's just all shoved in towards the end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like for us to get like all of this like really well done Newtonian stuff from the start of the series until this last arc, and really just like the last like 4 or 5 chapters of it is where you put all of like the kind of hand wavy stuff. Like that's fine. We didn't need for a story like Dr. Stone that had like such a mysterious explanation on the horizon the entire series, while we're doing all of this raw scientific method that's entirely accurate. Like what kind of ending were we expecting? Like I could have definitely seen a mind-blowing holy shit, this is the craziest ending and most perfect ending I've ever seen. Like of course we want that, but at the end of the day, for something that was hinging on such a potentially polarizing conclusion, I'm happy with it just being good enough or okay. Like having an okay ending that's not like super polarizing and having the streets fighting each other like back and forth on whether it was good or bad is everything that an ending for Dr. Stone should be, in my opinion. Like, of course, we want it to be great, but the fact that it's not terrible is a huge W for a story like Dr. Stone.
I mean, it makes sense that some of the hand wavy shit would be it towards the end, because like 99% of the story was covering inventions that have already been made by humankind. So it's literally just like, here's the steps, here's the material, this is how we make it, that's confirmed, that's fact.
Yeah.
This is how we
But when you're
do
talking
it.
about like independently intelligent, like alien AI that can free form float throughout space and has like literal sentient intelligence for each and every one of these fucking things, and then now you're talking about a fucking time travel machine. This is obviously shit that we have not invented yet.
Right.
Okay. So there's gonna have to be a little bit of like suspension of disbelief when it comes to the fucking process of how they're making these things and the
That's right.
scientific process that goes into them.
Now, for the Medusas, that's fine because that's like the supernatural or extra normal, you know, factor that we've always known was going to be a part of Dr. Stone. Like, as soon as chapter 1 hit and we saw that the petrification light did what it did, we already knew right away that that wasn't technology that we have. That is sci-fi right away. Like, that's chapter 1. So, like, you put it right at the beginning and just set that precedent that there's going to be an extra normal element outside of what we're capable of that's going to be expounded on at some point in the series. You give us like perfect Newtonian scientific method application from that point until the very end, and then say the explanation for that thing that you knew was science fiction already from the beginning is something that's relatively hand-wavy compared to the rest of the explanations we've had up until this point. It's not that bad. The introduction of the time machine seems like an extra, you know, suspension of disbelief on top of the Medusas that some people might not think is necessary, but I just see it as like, hey, this is Senku. We've been building him up as the smartest mind the world has ever seen since the beginning. Why not end it with him inventing something that real world still has yet to do?
Yeah.
To just further reinforce that point that Senku is that man. You know what I mean?
I think it's perfect.
Yeah.
Honestly,
so it's totally fine.
I feel really satisfied with the ending of this because it focuses on the idea of science being an ever-growing constant, like a constant progress.
Mm-hmm.
And so having a science, like, I would be upset a little bit with the series if they're like, Senku's like, well, I saved the world, I'm gonna rest on my laurels, you know, like, I'm done. I don't need to do anything more. It's like, no, he wants to do more. He wants to push, he wants to break the time barrier, right?
Yeah.
And, like, I like that they convinced the Y man that's with them, saying like, "Oh yeah, no, it's gonna save a lot of Medusa lives, you know, just by not having this stuff." And they even postulate like, "Yeah, maybe we can, maybe we can't. Here's a couple different things we could do, possibly if we can't physically transport ourselves or anything, but like maybe we can send it in data into the past and."
Yeah, hopefully it's something like that, because I really don't want to believe that Senku is just willingly, you know, throwing the lives of all of the stone.
Yeah.
Well, no, just like throwing, like he's willingly going back in time to prevent the initial petrification, which would then erase all of the stone world born characters from existence.
Yep.
Chrome and Ruru would never exist.
Exactly.
Alternate timelines, hopefully.
Yeah, maybe it's like branch universe theory or something, and it creates a branch instead of like a rewrite. That would be cool, but like I hope it's just sending information. Wait, no, because even if you send the information back in the past,
it would unravel things.
It would still be the same effect, because then they would know. Well, I don't know if it would. I don't know. I honestly don't know like why the time machine is like a thing. Yeah,
it's a perfect ending point, because after that point, it could literally be anything. I'm glad that the last chapter involved the time machine, because it's just like, it's a nice, who knows? It could be anything. Fill in the blank yourself. Find the answer that you're satisfied with. And some people might even say like, you know, we might never figure it out. Yeah. Like, it's like we can build it over decades, centuries, even if it takes a millennia.
Yeah.
They may never actually succeed in building the time machine, but they have high aspirations. And I think that's the important part, and a little bit of the heart of the series, is that there's A, potential, and B, hope. Period.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like how there's this little nod to Rei, the artificial intelligence from the Byakuya reboot, on page 22 in the Dr. Zeno panel. That's really cool.
Yes, I really, really appreciated that.
That's wild that we're seeing Rei in this chapter, because like that's confirmed by Riichiro Inagaki as non-canon.
So it
So, like,
might be.
specifically because of Rei, and we were talking about why that decision was made to make the Byakuya reboot not canon. It's because Rei's existence,
Is an
you know,
alternate timeline.
well, not just an alternate timeline, but it's just like so sci-fi that it like creates too much of a suspension of disbelief for the story of
Mhm.
Dr. Stone. I was assuming was the reason why it was chosen as not canon was just because of Rei. But now Rei is here in this chapter, so it's like it's just in a
Yeah.
flashback or like or whatever. Like she's not actually in the scene, obviously, but like still like
I think that it is like the parallel universe kind of thing.
oh
Where,
sure.
like, in the Byakuya reboot, that Rei exists. But in this world, Rei doesn't exist. They don't know and it's literally just a theory that Zeno had.
Wait a minute. So they're bringing information into the past now that they have knowledge of artificial intelligence.
And they're sending it
Yes,
through things. So
and they're
basically,
sending it in the past so that they can create Rei and make the
The
Byakuya reboot
is
canon.
the fucking alternate timeline.
yes. So it's not technically canon because it's not the main story, but I love that the canon story gave a lifeline to the reboot as an explanation for why it exists in the first place.
Nah, he had that shit cooking the whole time.
I know.
Yeah,
He couldn't tell
it's
people.
not canon.
He couldn't tell them.
Yet.
Wait until the last chapter.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not canon
no.
yet because we have to go back in time and send the information of the Medusa
Yeah.
AI to NASA so that they can create Rei.
Yeah.
That's so fucking ridiculous to think about.
Feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. A little
That's payoff. I love that. I
Wow.
love
That
that.
dawned on me as you guys were talking about that. I'm like,
Yeah, me too.
It
Yeah,
feels
me
good.
too.
It feels good, doesn't it? Dude, that little like sheriff sound, you're just like, realization, yes. What a hell of a drug.
I'm like, yo, the Byakuya shit is the fucking alternate, yo.
Yeah, it's the alternate timeline. Like I've always been like really excited about time travel and like movies like The 12 Monkeys or Looper and
Yeah,
stuff. If
yeah.
if you guys are interested, if any of our viewers are interested in time travel movies, the classic one is going to be 12 Monkeys. A good one is Looper, and the third one that is like my friend personally recommends is Tenet.
Tenet. Yeah.
Yeah, where
Yeah, I
they
remember that.
have
I haven't seen it, but I
it's a
remember
crazy
people
one.
talking
It's
about
a
that.
crazy one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Please watch it if any of you like time travel and science fiction. That's a good one to help wean you off the soon to be void of Dr. Stone.
Yeah, that shit's wild, man. I mean, all in all, love the series. I think I can comfortably give it, like, from what it feels like right now anyway, just coming fresh off the chapter, I want to just, like, I feel like this is just, like, an easy 9 overall, at the very least. It's something that I always, like, saw as, like, a 10 out of 10 series, like, while I was reading it, and then now that we're here at the end. And it's not even, like, any of my gripes are even, like, a big deal. But, like, I feel like it might go up to, like, 9.5 with, like, a reread or something like that. But this feels pretty close to, like, everything that it needs to be. So it's hard to not score it any lower than that. But
I feel like this is the story that, like, this is the kind of ending that Dr. Stone needed to function. Like, not like, oh, it was necessary, but, like, it's a good, open-ended finish that checks off a lot of boxes, gives a lot of characters closure, and then also it frames the story as like the world's not over.
Yeah.
The story's not over. These character stories will go on and move forward. We just won't be around to watch it.
Yeah. It could have easily been an ending.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
Somebody in the Twitch live chat was saying that there's supposed to be one more thing for Dr. Stone from Jump Giga.
Yeah, I didn't know about I didn't know about it being in Jump Giga, but I did. I was talking to Shonen OG too while I was reading the chapter on Sunday, and he was talking about Riichiro Inagaki tweeting something, for Japanese people, and then also tweeting something for, overseas Westerners in regard to the final chapter, and both tweets included a line of dialogue from Riichiro Inagaki that said, it's not over, there's more coming, basically. Like, there's one more thing that there's going to be at least. So it's going to be like a one-shot or like a...
What if it's another chapter to the Byakuya reboot? One final chapter. Literally putting a fucking bow on all this shit, because I'm 100% sold now that is just like the timeline that was created from them going back in time.
Yeah.
And it's fuck around, drop another chapter of that reboot.
Yeah.
And
Man,
it's literally
that'd be crazy.
like Ray stopping the petrification or whatever the fuck happens.
Something I don't even. I really don't want to believe that anything really changes the fact that Ruri and Kohaku and all of them are born. I really think that
would be
really sad to know that that's what they're going to do, and to not give any writing, like character-wise for that before it happens would be a pretty crazy decision for them to make. So I'm really interested to see exactly what the next thing is that Riichiro Inagaki was talking about when he said that it wasn't over. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just happy that Dr. Stone got an ending. It could have very easily been an ending that had people fighting constantly with each other about whether it was good or bad, like Attack on Titan or Promised Neverland or something. But I'm just happy that the ending was relatively well received, at least so far, throughout the community. It's what it deserves, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of nice that Taiju brought a cake, because this ending feels like I got my cake and I got to eat it too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really happy with this ending.
Oh, he made the time machine look like a Medusa. I didn't even
it does.
put that
I was going to
together.
mention that next.
I saw it on the roadmap to like the goal of the time machine, and I noticed that shape on that page, but then I go back to the actual like time machine shit, and it's also
the thing where he's like 1819. Yeah.
Yeah, 18. Yeah, and it's just like also a trefoil knot. So I'm like, oh damn.
Love that.
It's like actually what
Love
it is.
that.
I don't know how I didn't notice that before. I feel kind of dumb, but there it is.
It's zoomed out. I like it, because like if a tiny Medusa was able to do something that crazy, but like humans don't have the technology to make something that small still be effective, the obvious solution is to just make it big as hell.
Yeah.
So they can make it to scale. Like that's pretty fucking dope. Senku would say, I was excited.
Hell yeah.
So I say, get excited.
Yeah, what a perfect last dialogue bubble for Dr. Stone. And this drawing of Senku.
So beautiful.
Yeah, I saw that shit and I was like, thumbnail. Thanks, Boichi. Perfect thumbnail.
Even his tie, there's...
Yeah.
I like the little detail of the tie. He's got this flower or something.
Paisley.
It's got some sort of flower. I don't recognize it. If anybody in the comments is a bit of a horticulturist or anything, if they can tell me what the flower is, I would love to know the symbolic meaning of that flower.
Isn't that the same?
Like it's a very intentional choice.
Yeah, isn't it the same design that you see on like bandanas and shit? Like, I feel like I see that design on ties like all the time. That's like the standard tie flower paisley-ish. Actually, no, I don't think that is the bandana design.
But it looks like a specific kind of flower.
It does. You're totally right. Yeah.
But other than that, I've got nothing.
Yeah. Farewell, Dr. Stone.
Farewell, Dr. Stone.
Thank you for the memories. Thank you for the great conversations week to week. The story, the art, everything. We love it. We love you, Dr. Stone. And
yes. Yeah. Let us know in the comment section what series you think we should replace it with. But I think
who do you believe
that'll be it,
successor?
Man. Thank you, Dr. Stone, for all their good times, and c'est la vie, man.
It's always a little bittersweet. Like I'm always really satisfied at the end of a series, but then I'm just like,
there's no
more.
more.
It is over though. It is over there.
Very melancholic.
Yeah.
So yeah,
for sure.
But that'll do it. Well, with that, I think we can go ahead and get right into chapter 346 of My Hero Academia, Super Hyper Unfair Broken Stage.
I didn't even know that was the title until right now. That's hilarious, because that's exactly what it is. I'm screaming.
For real.
Super Hyper Unfair Broken Stage.
It's It's like that map on Super Smash Bros. With the tree that blows you off, the
Oh,
Kirby map.
yeah, the Kirby map.
Or the Super Mario map that
Trouble Tree
changes,
Lines or something
fucking
like that.
Super Mario Sunshine map that
Yeah.
fucking changes every
Yes.
fucking 30 seconds.
Oh my god. Fuck that map too.
I got
Jesus.
a funny ass story from Thanksgiving with Mike and Jack that I'll have to tell you. Jack was literally like running around the house screaming that Mike's a cheater.
I can already picture the entire scene.
It was the grimiest shit I've ever seen on Super Smash Bros, bro.
Yeah.
But let's continue.
Yeah. I
Oh,
love this
man.
chapter, man. I love how like this is how they're, kind of showing the teamwork of everyone involved leading into the defeat. There's the inevitable defeat of the villain kind of like league here. And like we see these kind of like combos, with the whole squad against a common enemy, like pretty often, I want to say, in shonen manga. But I'm just happy that in a story like My Hero Academia, they're going the route of it's not just our abilities that are working together in tandem as we bring you down. It's like all of our different strengths, in areas outside of combat coming together to work in combat as teamwork to defeat you instead of just all of our quirks combined, giant, Power Ranger laser beam to beat you. I like the nuance of I like the how deep the teamwork is going on the unconventional side of things.
Oh man, like I love that like Momo and Denki are just like, yeah, I'm Charge Bolt, I'm Creati. Like they actually are like, no, who are you? And I'm just like, I'm this fucking hero. Let's go.
Yes.
It's very hype. Like even though they're like, because like
they all got to be using hero names for this. This is the final bout. You know what I'm saying?
this
Like
is
this
the final
final
bout.
form
They
everybody
got,
right
they,
now.
They got their like hero names. They've
Mhm.
really come into their own. Like I remember Denki was just like, oh yeah, no, I'll run out of charge. And he's just like, I'm powering a flying city.
Yeah. And this manga
It's just-
Fukidashi dude, I just remember how much Nickums hated
So
this
funny.
character when he was on the show and we were reviewing this. He's like, this power is so dumb. It doesn't fit in with like anybody else's powers, of how it always like seems to have like a pseudo scientific explanation for everything. Manga Fukidashi is just matter, or not matter, but reality manipulation. Yeah, like metaphysical, like small scale reality warping. And he just thought that was so out of place for.
But I mean, after we've seen a lot of it, it doesn't really seem that way. It just seems like cataclysmic effect that these like onomatopoeia, these sounds and effects have on the environments around them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not. It's definitely not
like he definitely couldn't write like disappear and you fucking. You know what I'm saying?
Well, who knows? I mean, we just haven't gotten enough focus on him. But yeah, as far as what we've gotten so far from him, it hasn't really been
Black
all
Clover.
I think it's most.
Guy.
I think it would be most reminiscent of Apu's power, because that is also really centric around like onomatopoeia sound effects and like what they're usually associated with within manga. Like he has the doom attack that's like a fucking boom.
Yeah.
He has the slice attack. I think.
Yeah, it's not too crazy.
It's really grounded within the onomatopoeia. Whatever effects they can cover is effects he can have.
Yeah, it's not
outside of that, you know. I don't know.
It's got a healthy limit. It's not like word magic or something, you know.
Yeah, and especially with after a fight like Star and Stripe and like seeing like what that quirk was, it's like
I don't care about a Fukidashi guy.
Yeah, it's definitely not
like,
that crazy.
Just let him live.
When you consider Star and Stripe. Yeah, but I just remember how just pissed Nick would
I remember too.
Yeah. But yeah.
Oh god, that was
I also do remember like at the time too being like not that big of a deal, but it
was very funny.
I was like, if they were having him do like super extra shit with this onomatopoeia, then like I could kind of hear you, but they don't give him too much despite his power, so it's fine.
He's there to be funny.
Yeah. For the most part, yeah.
And I do like how the dialogue bubble on his head also says "Bwah!" And he's like, I'm like "Bwah!" over here, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And his head dialogue bubble actually says that too.
Yep. Hell yeah.
Oh, and look, on the bottom right panel of page fucking 10, all of his dialogue is coming out of his neck. You see that?
Oh, are you talking about 11? 11.
11, yes,
Oh
yes.
yeah,
Page-
bottom of 10. This plan falls
That's
apart
his neck.
without us.
Yeah.
We got to give it our all to keep Shigaraki locked here.
Yeah, I
That's
wanna
a
see-
creative use of paneling.
Yeah.
That's a very creative use of paneling. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's brilliant
Fucking
for
good
sure.
spot,
I want to
dude.
say that that's always been a thing, but just never noticed it.
I think so too. Yeah.
But he gets such little screen time that it's like, how could you remember that? But
Oh man,
that's so cool.
exactly.
Yeah, I love the
Like-
choreography too. On going back a little bit towards the beginning of the chapter when
Oh, yeah.
Shigaraki comes down and starts the decay. The paneling on that page is just fucking beautiful with like the half circle gutter going around his
Mhm.
hand to just give him no background as he touches
Absolute
down on
highlight.
the ground. Yep. It just to highlight, the shit specifically. And maybe that's like a representation of like the unseen energy that kind of like comes out from decay before it starts to destroying things. Who knows? But it's just like a creative paneling choice to represent this scene. And then the fucking shit notices the decay.
Ejects out
The
of it.
button is pressed. It ejects him up so that he can't keep destroying the ground by having his hand as like a constant source of destruction to keep the channeling going. So it interrupts that, shoots him into the sky. He runs into the fucking electric barrier while he's all tensed up and locked up from the zap. Best Genius grabs him with the shit and just drags him along the ground with
Steel
another great
cables.
example of creative paneling on page 6. I love everything
Oh
about it.
man,
Yeah.
I love it because he's like using like, what was it, stainless steel cables to like reduce the amount of decay, and like it's just crazy because I love that page on 3 where he touches the thing. You can see like the ground decay, like literally the bottom of the panel decaying at his own touch.
Yeah,
Right, like the panel breaks
yeah,
where he touches it.
yeah.
And then because of how their defense mechanism is set up, I like the idea that they're like, yes, there are layers to the things he breaks, because
Yes.
even though he's decaying the panel, he's decaying the ground, there's still layers.
Yes.
that
And he
he
can only
can't
affect
reach.
one layer at a time. So then before he breaks through the first layer entirely, the second layer is coming up to eject him, and the decay hasn't reached that yet, so it won't continue to spread because he's been disconnected from his decay contact point.
Mhm.
And
I
that's
love
just like
that.
so fire. And I love Best Genus dialogue here. As long as your brain and muscles are still operating your body, then a powerful electric current will make you stiffen up. And I love when inside of fictional stories with superpowers, they always tie it back to like a human biological, like physical
realistic
element
weakness.
despite the power, right? Because it's like, yes, you can get thrown into buildings and survive. You can, crumble entire fucking landscapes with the touch of a hand, but like I can still affect you in ways that are human. It reminds me a lot of Dwayne McDuffie's Fantastic Four, because he had Black Panther was on Fantastic Four during that run, and they run into Silver Surfer for one reason or another that I can't really remember right now. But Black Panther squares up with Silver Surfer and like throws him in like an arm bar or some shit, and he says something along the lines of like your physique is I'm wagering that your physique is as humanoid as it appears, and if that's the case, you won't be able to break this hold despite your vastly superior strength. And it's like cool shit like that. Yeah, because it's like Silver Surfer bodies Black Panther 1v1, like there's no chance in hell, but he caught him off guard and threw his body into position to where he has no more leverage. And like even though he's like wildly more powerful, he can't break the arm lock because he just leverage and physics and shit
Anatomy
like that.
says that.
Yeah, anatomy, like shit like that. So I love when writers like do that inside of their wildly fictional stories. It's just like brings a realistic element to it that kind of ups the tension a little bit for me.
Yeah, and I love Best Genius's dialogue here when Shigaraki's kind of like, yo, like, you got a good plan here, but this is a losing game in this battle of attrition here because we're floating and you're giving up the ground free.
Yeah.
And he said, you needn't worry. We are replete with that particular resource. As the fucking panels are cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. And then it fucking shows like obviously like Cementos and Momoya like doing their thing, creating more fucking oh yeah, that is Power Loader. He's moving the shit into place. Yep. Cementos making blocks, Power Loader moving them into place.
Yes.
Momo making steel fucking shit.
Yes.
Just Everybody playing their part, man.
Beautiful.
Even Lunch Rush in the background producing high calorie content food.
I didn't
for
even
Momo
notice
to
this
fuel her
motherfucker.
power.
Oh my
I love that
god.
touch. For me, so good. I was just like, yeah, Lunch
That
Rush,
is
baby.
so
You haven't been
good.
around since season 1.
Yes, and just
See him back
I
there.
didn't even notice, bro, either. But that's just so perfect to like bring it full circle and just complete the fucking puzzle.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
That is one thing I thought, like, man, Momo can just, like, she's got no problem with
She's
her
spamming
endurance,
now.
her stamina, yeah, like,
Yeah.
It's like,
but
no,
that
they're
makes total
feeding her.
sense. He's in the background on his
Whipping
charmy
this shit, yeah.
on his charmy shit, like,
Look at that
here you go,
industrial
here you go,
rice
Eat up.
here you
cooker.
go.
Eat up. Yeah,
Look at
that's
that
really good.
industrial rice cooker, man.
Yeah, that's really
You
good.
know that like the
That's
support
that,
company
yeah, that's that
was just
Chipotle rice cooker for real.
like
Yeah.
Chinese cafeteria rice cooker, like boom.
Yeah, that's fucking
Wow.
awesome.
Oh,
I love
man.
little like unspoken shit like that. Like it doesn't need to be explained. You just kind of like see it and it's tight when you notice it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I like how they're just like, yeah, we weren't quite sure how you functioned, but we got enough information that we came up with this to make it work. And it's crazy that they're like, okay, cool. Nezu being like high spec, and then having our inventor like co-opt that idea and like change it all up to like create the flying fortress to like replete them, and then it's like all those moving parts, like it requires like Phantasm, it required Power Loader, it required Smentos, the Principal, all the Charge kids, the Electrokinetic kids, Lunch Rush, everybody. It took like 20, 30 people to like make that kind of thing function.
Sustainable.
Period. And it's just for one dude. It's for one dude, but I think that's poetic because like during the Paranormal Liberation Front arc,
Mhm.
Deku said to Shigaraki, I won't forgive you. And Shigaraki's response was, I won't forgive any of you.
Yeah.
He is literally a man against the world. Period. Like he resents anything and everyone. He is given up. He feels like he was given up by the world, and so he's given up on the world. And that is like reflected again in his conversation, because with against Eraserhead, and he's like, I used to think you were so cool. And you turned to be quite a letdown, Eraserhead. And that's because he's like, oh, you're relying on others?
Yeah.
That is like so antithetical to like my personality that's weak.
Yeah. Everyone
That's
was
weakness.
relying on you before, and now you're relying on everyone else.
Yeah.
Not as cool to me as you once were.
Yeah. And it's just like you just don't get teamwork. Like you've never understood, valued it.
Yeah. The situation with
like,
Monoma like copying the Erasure, but then Eraser kind of supplementing the time limit caveat for Monoma's copying ability with constant contact. Yeah. That's just like such a cool and
workaround.
Yeah, it's a cool workaround that makes enough sense. Like it makes, honestly, it makes all the sense in the world. I wonder though, because I'm like trying to like think of like times where like an analog for like where I've seen like something like this before. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but it's kind of like when you get like an invincibility star in, you know, Mario Kart, and then before the time runs out on it, you just like run into another one again, and it just keeps it going. That's not the best example. I swear to God, there's a better one, but like that's like, really cool that like it's familiar enough and makes enough sense.
Yeah, it's like constantly refreshing the cooldown.
Yeah. There you go, something like that.
Like video game wise.
Yeah.
And I love that Manuel's there to like help Monoma not blink. And I'm just like, yeah, they brought our boy back. Like because we were asking, it's like, man, yeah, we expected Monoma and Eraserhead to function as part of like a team to like go do crowd control and anti-quirk control.
Yeah.
How are they going to bypass the fact that he has one eye and dry eye?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
So like I'm glad that like this is the workaround. And I really appreciate it. I feel like it's a very simple, elegant like slightly outside the box kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. Monoma's all gassed up, like look at him like peak confidence, like ha ha ha, we're too tight for you, motherfucker. What's good? Main
Right.
character whooping you up. Bet you didn't see that
Star-
coming. Go fuck yourself. I'm Monoma.
Is okay, so I don't know if this is like a typo or a pun.
Staring
Where-
roll.
Staring roll or starring roll, because he's literally using his eyes to stare at Shigaraki, and he is, you know, there are no second best actors. There, you are all starring players.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
It's gotta
So, like,
be
it's
a
got.
pun.
Please
Yeah.
let it be a pun. Otherwise, it's just a glaring typo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some really tight. On page 12. In the panel where it's "We are those who stand against the doom you bring," you can see Mirko running along the steel thread.
Oh,
Yes. I just noticed that when I first got to the page just now.
And edge shots just raveled, like, you know, twisted, and that little black lightning bolt underneath Mirko is edge shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. I didn't even notice them the first time. I thought it was a tatter of Shigaraki's cape.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Initially. But now that I was like really looking, I was like, oh damn, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And like, I love that Best Genius is using fibers, and as it decays, he's just like, nope, I'm twisting it off. Like, it's gone.
Where are you
I don't
seeing
care.
that?
I have so he's been using the wires at them, but like they have to be decaying. It's something that is touched, right?
Yeah. But I'm wondering if you're actually seeing art that is kind of explained.
I'm not seeing it.
Oh,
but,
okay,
like,
okay,
I'm
okay.
assuming because, like,
I don't know that Shigaraki's really gotten a hand on one of them yet.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
there's on page
Oh yeah,
6,
on page 6.
bottom right hand corner.
Yep.
They're kind of fraying.
Yep. He definitely broke their hold, and then there's a panel after that that shows something decaying.
Yeah.
That one segment of the ground was launched up high and crumbled in midair. Okay, so that's the section of the ground. Okay, so that's not directly the wires, but yeah, the wires, we can assume that when he damages them to break free, he's decaying them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Best Genius using his fiber manipulation is just like, nah, I'm gonna twist that off.
I don't know if twisting that off would save it though, because I mean, like, it's still the same matter being crumbled away. It's just changing shape. Why would that save it?
Well, I mean, the paranormal liberation leader, the guy that looked like Doofenshmirtz on steroids, like, cut off his leg.
Yes, yeah, he cut off the
stop
leg,
decay.
but that's like a severing from the point of crumbling and separating it from another point that hadn't been crumbled yet.
Yeah,
If
so
the-
like
if the-
twisting it off is just like it twists and.
Oh, okay.
Like,
I see what you're saying.
Because
Yeah,
he manipulates all fiber regardless if they're
Yes,
connected to each other.
yes.
So he could twist it and then
Pop
control
it
both
off,
ends and
yeah.
just pop it off.
Yeah, I totally
So I
see the
feel like
vision
that's-
now. Yep,
yeah.
I get it.
That's
tight.
where I was at. It was one of those unspoken things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool to think about. Absolutely. That's probably definitely inside of Best Genius, like, mental thought process when fighting Shigaraki. I love that. I love that.
There's this really cool paneling thing on page 13 where Shigaraki's looking at the squad that's suppressing his skills,
Yep.
and his eye is directly above Eraser's eye patch.
Oh, damn. Yeah. Nice.
And it's just like, we are both seeing each other, that kind of thing. And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Oh, damn. And now that I'm, like, looking at it for real, Eraser's left eye is glowing as if he's also using Erasure. So they're, like, both erasing a different quirk,
They're
probably.
probably erasing two different quirks.
Yeah.
The Shockwave and
The
Decay, probably.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes sense. Because I was like wondering, because when Eagle was doing his stream, there was a conversation about exactly how Erasure works, and Eagle, I think, said something along the lines of, if it's not a heteromorphic ability that's like passive and just always going because you're a heteromorph or something, then he can't erase that. And we know that that's true because we've gotten raw exposition for that exact situation in My Hero Academia in like chapter like 15 in that initial UA invasion. The very first one, Eraserhead is surrounded by like 15 enemies, and then like one of the heteromorphs comes up and is like, I bet you can't erase my shit. And Eraser was like, yeah, you're right, and then stole off his ass. So like, yeah, he's like, so what? I can't erase your shit. I'll just beat your ass. So I thought that was cool. So we got confirmation on that. But then Eagle was saying that outside of that, Eraserhead can just look at you and turn off like all of your active abilities basically and stop them from manifesting. But then also I remember dialogue that says that he can only stop one quirk at a time.
Yes.
So like if he can only stop one quirk at a time, if he can only stop one quirk at a time, then it has to be like your innate quirk. I'm having a hard time picturing Eraser looking at someone with multiple quirks and just having like a mental list of the active abilities that they have in their repertoire, and then just choosing one.
Choosing when he's like activating, he's like, I'm gonna get rid of their decay quirk. Like he's intent on them.
Okay, so you're saying that he can like kind of has like a visual field of what quirks you have.
Oh no, I don't think he does. I think
so then how does he choose
everybody? Like Batman, he has to research people.
Right, but then how does that allow him to then choose which quirk he's turning off if you have multiple?
I think he has to just be aware of which quirks you have, period. And so, like, using the data from, like, the Stars and Stripes fight, he's like, okay, well, they have Shockwave. They still have Shockwave, and they're always going to be using Decay. So, like, at least we have those two to take care of.
Right, but, like, how
you can't really get rid of...
So, like, if Shigaraki has 7 quirks that he's able to use, and then Eraserhead looks at him and doesn't want him to use Decay or Shockwave, how does he make that? How does he choose that? How does he make sure that those specific ones aren't used if he really can pick and choose? Like, what does that look like for him?
He can pick and choose, but like when he uses his quirk, he already has a quirk in mind of what he's canceling.
Okay.
If they have more than one quirk.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know?
Yeah.
So he's like, because normally he just looks at someone and is like, I want to cancel your quirk, and they only have one quirk, they're done.
Right.
But if he's aware of if a person has multiple quirks, like he did it to Deku, right? Like he was able to temporarily shut down All for One when he was doing the fitness test.
Right.
Fitness pacer.
But Deku only had access to one ability inside of One for All at that time.
But he was still, still shutting it down.
Oh yeah, so you're saying so if Eraserhead uses Erasure on Deku, he just wouldn't have access to any of his abilities because the root of them is just One for All, and he's canceling that.
I think at this point he'd probably have to be like, oh, you have access to multiple quirks now. Well, I don't know which ones I need to get rid of, and he would have to like preemptively think about what he wanted to stop.
I think it makes more sense that it's like, since they're all stemming from the same point of origin, which is One for All. I feel like he could just stop One for All, and then Deku just wouldn't be able to use Black Whip or Fujin or something like that. Either way, this whole situation is one where I would prefer it if it wasn't an unspoken thing, kind of like we've been pointing out. Like that's something that, and maybe it has already been explained, and I just like don't remember. But as far as like Erasure versus someone with multiple quirks in one body, it's either I stop your innate ability that you were born with, or it's like you said, where the one that I'm picturing is the one you can't use based on the information that I have on it. I like that.
I don't know. I feel like this will be broken down.
Yeah, for sure.
In the next chapter or two.
Right. Yeah.
Probably.
That would be a good time for it. Yeah.
Because they still need to go get Deku.
Mm-hmm.
And only Monoma is gonna be able to get them.
Oh, okay, because of his warp is like.
Yeah, because warp only has a 5-minute time limit left on him.
But like, where is Shirakumo? Doesn't he have to be within like a specific proximity? Like, didn't he leave him? Didn't he like leave him back at like prison or something?
There will be definitely a time frame where Monoma has to go get Deku, swing back to Kurogiri, refresh as quick as he can, and then go to the Flying Fortress.
Okay, so how does Monoma move around if he doesn't have access to that quirk right now?
He should still have it.
Okay. Currently, I guess that much time hasn't really passed. Yeah.
Because fights actually go much faster than we think.
Yeah, we were talking
like,
about how mangaka are able to play with cinematic time in a way that no other medium can. So
yeah, and
yeah,
like watching a fight happen in a series is usually like fast. Like Grappler Baki, you know, they have like 3 chapters and like it was only 2 minutes.
yeah,
You know, that kind of thing.
yeah. And now that I think
So
about it, that's not really a thing that's exclusive to manga the way that we were talking about in Undead Unluck the other day, because you can definitely like portray large or small amounts of time in multiple episodes. We've seen that all the time. Like Namek will blow up in 5 minutes, and then 12 episodes later it finally
it's a
blows
month
up.
later.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'll take that one back. But I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. The parts. What do you guys think of Shigaraki's just like crazy thingies?
It's like
His
Tetsuo
bad
shit.
touch.
This like these
Yeah.
like more Akira
Well,
references. He's just a living Akira reference at this
So
point.
Akira right now.
That was pretty tight, but that, I mean, like Noxie was saying earlier, that was just the one part of the chapter that confused me, because
Yeah.
I was under the impression that obviously erasure was happening,
hmm
so I didn't know how he could do an active quirk application like this. It seems like this is an active quirk application anyway.
Where he's growing these hands from his body. It's like an activated
It's
ability.
heteromorphic, to be honest.
Well, I mean, like
Because
other
the physical
examples of
change.
other examples of like heteromorphs. Like I don't remember if muscular was classified as a heteromorph. We can actually just look that up right now if someone wants to while I'm saying this, or I can do it after I'm done. But like usually heteromorphs are just born that way. They've always been that way. It's always a part of their body. They're not turning anything on, so naturally he would be able to stop that. But this seems like you weren't this way before, and now you're changing something about yourself. So that's where the active portion of Eagle's complaint is kind of coming from. Like this ability wasn't active before, and now he's activating it. Shouldn't be able to do that while he's being looked at by characters that have erasure. But when it comes down to it, erasure can only stop one quirk at a time, and we know that in the canon.
I mean,
I'm getting mixed.
if you look at his
because
hand
this
at
thing,
like page 2, you can see that he's got like a bunch of like nubbins growing out of his wrist and hand. His like, and it seems like it's constantly twitching. Like on page 3 as well, when he like first touches the ground with his right hand, his left hand seems it's like in a state of flux constantly, especially when you had those previous chapters when Spinner was like looking at him and you could see all the hands and fingers and stuff.
Yeah.
So his left hand, he lost fingers. And so maybe this is just a growth from the quirk singularity hyper regeneration, and he has malleable flesh that he can like generate. He's trying to regrow more fingers so that he can touch things with his left hand. Decay only works when he touches 5 fingers to an object. And so now his left hand is like this heteromorphic quirk that is just flesh as much as he wants.
I thought he was able to do it without all 5 now. That was like the whole thing of his quirk evolution against fucking Redestro, because Redestro like broke his shit and was like, you can't use your shit anymore, and he still decayed him with just the 3.
Yeah, that's right. I do remember that.
So that was like a big part of his quirk evolution, but this seems like a regenerative thing, because this was also happening in the tunnel with Spinner.
Yeah.
When he was like all handsy.
Yeah, because he seems
It's
to
just
be only
weird.
doing...
And again, I'm getting mixed shit with this eraser head research. Like, it sounds to me like per person he can only cancel 1 quirk at a time.
But he can erase multiple at a time as long as they're
Because in
inhabited by different
USJ,
people.
they're saying, and I do remember this moment in the anime specifically where he's like, boom, like he's going like bop, 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 giving people like martial arts hands, jumps up, and you see a fucking scene of him like, shoom, 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 look in multiple directions. They're saying as long as he doesn't close his eyes, he can cancel like multiple fucking different people's quirks.
But only 1 per person.
But probably only 1 per person.
Yep.
But again, now I'm getting this thing is saying
what
theoretically he should be able to cancel All for One, because All for One is technically a storage quirk that stores other quirks for use. So if you're canceling All for One, by,
then by extension you're canceling all of the quirks that come with All for One, just like we were talking about with Deku.
Yeah. So it's a weird situation, bro. I just don't.
It's just something that just needs raw exposition at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see that.
Yeah.
God, he's so Akira right now. Like the whole
Yeah.
cape thing, the giant wave of flesh. Like I feel like the fingers is gonna be like a heteromorphic thing. He's just raw pushing it out
Yeah.
and then using it as a fucking bludgeon.
Yeah, that's wild. And I really hope that, like, Mirko didn't get reintroduced into the comic just to
die.
Just to be
quickly.
one shot right now. Yeah, I'd be like so pissed.
feel
I
like
know
she
that's
can't.
not it. I know that's not it. I know Horikoshi ain't gonna do that.
Yorikoshi likes Mirko too much to let her die out like that.
And you want to know what? Hold on, let me look at this. Wait a minute. Is she losing limbs? If you like zoom in on her right leg, when her, you see how her naked leg runs into her like stocking, and then her stocking runs into an impact illustration, and then there's just nothing after that, but there's blood splatter and something flying away from the stump. If she lost her other fucking like leg right now or some shit, if she's really just getting like fodderized right now.
I think that's the limb that she already lost.
Oh yeah, I think she did lose her right leg.
Yeah, so it's just the one that she already lost.
Arm.
She's getting it kind of ripped off.
But still, like, let her cook a little bit more before you take more limbs away. Like, dude, she just came back from losing limbs. Let her kick some shit off, at least first, before you cripple her again. Holy shit. And if this fucking giant massive hands has decay on it, she's dead.
Yeah, but currently,
but no, he's getting decay erased probably actually right now.
Yeah, it's got to be suppressed. So
yeah.
I think she's living. She's gonna, do some shit. Maybe like try to like fish hook his eye out or something like that. Something brutal.
She's gonna live. She's gonna.
She don't
play
no games.
Yeah.
She's just there to like beat people to death.
I hope so, Horikoshi. You better not. You better not.
Yeah, I think she's gonna get some time to shine because she's been in like the background. She's zooming in, and like if they give that much love to like all the minor characters,
yeah, then top 5 heroes got
her turn.
Got to cook. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Wild chapter though. Holy fuck! This last little like war arc is already starting off in such a crazy way. I cannot wait for next chapter.
Man, I'm very interested to see how the rest. I have no idea what to expect out of the next few zones.
Yeah.
Like the Gunga village or the resort.
Yes.
With Toga, I'm just like, what?
Yes, I need that perspective. Like next chapter. As soon as we find out Mirko's okay from this, bring me back to Deku and Toga.
They'll be like, "Where's Deku?" And then it'll just cut to him, and he's like, "Toga, what do you want from me?"
So,
yeah,
I don't know. In these panels, I can see of Mirko in the last couple chapters. Like, she seems like she's got all her fucking limbs, except for the one, obviously, like robot arm, her left arm.
Yep.
So I don't know, man. Damn, what if she did lose her leg?
That would suck. I'd be very upset. But got to see how it's executed, of course. But just on paper, the thought of it right now got me not feeling too good. Okay.
I mean, yeah, you do see this on her right leg, like cuts off on her knee with this like impact mark.
Yeah.
And it looks like just up and to the right of it a little bit. There's this.
That's what I was saying.
Oh, no,
that's what I was saying, bro. Like, fuck.
I feel like it's.
But that is the leg that she already lost, though, right? Because she lost her left.
I don't think she lost a leg. I thought she just lost.
I feel like
she lost her left. No, I'll tell you right now. She lost her left arm and her right leg in the last war. I promise you. So we just haven't seen like the new bionic right leg yet, or whatever the new. Actually, yes, we have. Actually, yeah, we did see it because it was like it looked like a. We talked about it even. Like a couple of chapters ago, you could see it poking out.
Pistorius, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like the bent, paperclip like prosthetic leg that you usually see on like Olympic runner.
Mark.
Yeah, that you usually see on like Olympic runners. Yeah, that are amputees. Yeah, it's like a question mark. Yeah, and we were talking about how it fit. We were talking about how much it fit because it looked like a rabbit's foot and shit. Yeah, or how it resembled a rabbit's foot or whatever. So yes.
Still got it.
But yeah, she could have just lost it again though. No, I don't want to think about that.
No, actually, yeah, it is the foot. That metal foot is right there.
Oh, there
So
it
you
is.
get the stump.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Yo, Eagle, look. Yo, wait. Oh shit,
Yeah,
dude. Do you see
I
it?
can see the foot. It looks like a crowbar.
I was on a panel of a different chapter.
Oh no. Go to
this one,
go to the panel from this
page
chapter
15.
and you can see it. Okay, so when you see the impact at the knee and you see the thing that's broken off and then you look up to the right, yeah, you can see that
Crowbar,
it's
that is her foot.
The little toes.
yes.
Yeah.
Yo.
I hope she takes that
just
crowbar
popped
and
off.
just whaps him with it.
Yo.
It just popped off.
Yeah, it just popped off. She can pop it back on.
Put it back on.
Maybe she popped it off herself. Let's go. Hold on. This is all part of her plan.
I don't know. I feel like that forearm thrust came at her out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm just trying to be optimistic.
Yeah. Nah, I bet she's hardcore. I bet she ends up grabbing that thing and just beating over the head with it.
Hell yeah. Joker versus Jason Todd type beat. Sorry.
I think that about does it for
Yeah, I'm
Hero.
good. I'm good. I'm definitely good on Hero.
Well, with that, I think we can go ahead and get right into the final chapter of the night, the Piece de Resistance, chapter 1042 of One Piece. The victor needs no epithet, which is a fucking hype-ass title and a hype-ass line.
That's pretty hard, yeah.
But start with this cover story, obviously, an Emotionless Excursion, Volume 6. Take Niji and Yonji to Whole Cake Island, which is weird to me because it seems like a pretty mundane scene. But it seems peculiar to me that Oven, as he's carrying this prison book, looks back with this question mark. Like he's surprised at what he sees. He looks back like, huh?
Yeah.
Could somebody be pulling up right now to, Big Mom ain't here, boy. We finna get our, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh,
Blackbeard. Blackbeard.
Why is Blackbeard on Whole Cake though? Nah, he ain't got no reason
to get the road pawn, to get Big Mom's road poneglyph that's butt naked right now. Yeah.
Oh, what if that's? Ooh, that's good. I was thinking of the other
Katakuri's in a fucking body cast. The rest of the high tiers are over at fucking Wano. It's like Blackbeard's smoking this whole fucking cast right here. Low diff, no diff, almost.
Mm-hmm. Nah, I was thinking the other Vince Smoke brothers.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Like Vince Smoke pulling back up, like, all right, Big Mom and one on now.
It's there's more.
Yeah, Reiju and Ichiji are left.
Yeah, Reiju and Ichiji and Judge were chilling.
Judge, yep.
So I figured it was them. That was my thing.
Yeah.
But I like that Drake really got the drop on that boy.
Yeah. Yeah, that was wild. He did some damage. It's cool that like inside of the community, like people make fun of like supernovas and they make fun of CP0 and they make fun of like all of these characters that aren't Yonko or admirals at this point, which is just like funny in and of itself. But I like that that Oda is showing us the capability of Drake, even though he's not like an all-star member of the cast of this arc. You know what I mean? Like he's still a supernova, and he still gets to have moments like these against characters that, for one reason or another, the community thinks he should have no chance against. Like characters have been getting acknowledged for their strength that, a lot of the One Piece community consider fodder. So I just love that in the storytelling.
I mean, One Piece has been around for so long. There have been like debates on like if Naruto without the Kurama could do this or this. It doesn't matter. Like none of that stuff matters. And it's like, CP0 usually gets the drop on people. This time they didn't.
Yeah.
And Drake got finished.
Yep. Exactly. He's still like lost at the end of the day. He's like, holy shit, I can't believe you did that. Yeah, you got a good hit on me, Drake, you son of a bitch. Bow, she gone. You're out of here. So like he still loses to CP0.
He got right through his neck.
Right through his throat, son. Like, yo.
Carotid.
Yeah. But that's just like a cool situation for me.
Yeah, I love that.
Even though like I don't really care too much about Drake personally, but I like respect his position in the hierarchy, and I love that he gets a little moment before such a drastically fatal.
I'm not like a huge Drake fan either. regardless of One Piece.
Oh wow.
No, but like Drake can hear, but like,
Yeah.
he's like, this is my justice. This is what my justice tells me to do. And I love that CP0 is like, I am envious of you. I wish I could do what I felt was justice, but I gotta keep going.
Yeah, I gotta,
Time to die. I got a mission to do. I am bleeding out heavily.
yeah, dog of the military. I gotta, like, we live two
Straight
completely
up.
different lives. We live in completely different worlds. I wish I could be, living life similar to you, but I gotta get this money. You know what I'm saying? This world government got my family tied up in a fucking basement somewhere, making me work for them or some shit.
They're off stage with a puppy and a gun to its head.
Yeah, type shit. That's just the kind of like pathos that Oda gives to antagonists eventually. It's like, you sucked for so long. Backstory. Oh, this is why you're doing this. Okay. You don't suck as bad anymore.
Yeah.
But this
Cool
dude
motive.
sucks like
Still
really bad
terrible.
still. Yeah, like especially with like the end of the chapter.
Dude.
Which, like, while I'm
Yeah.
thinking about it, we might as well go to, because this was actually like a point that actually confused me. But earlier in the conversation for My Hero Academia, I remembered Dwayne McDuffie's Fantastic Four and like Black Panther versus Silver Surfer, and I'm pretty sure that that's what's going on here with the introduction of the CP0 agent to this Luffy and Kaido fight, is because Luffy goes into a over Kong gun or whatever for this like crazy like clash, and then the CP0 dude like pulls up behind him and hits him with the iron body. So what I'm thinking is happening here is he teleports behind him, puts his arm around Luffy's arm, and then activates the Tekai to just keep his arm locked in place so that Luffy doesn't have the leverage he needs to continue the Overkong gun, which is just like that scene in Dwayne McDuffie's Fantastic Four when Black Panther gets the drop on him, puts him in an armbar, and says your physiology is is humanoid enough to where you won't be able to break this hold, despite being way stronger than me. So I think
But you
that's
can definitely see
yeah.
on page 14 in the middle left panel, CP0 guy is there. Like the middle panels, show me what you got, boy. Thunder Bellow, right below
Or
Thunder
15,
Bellow.
page 15.
15, yes.
Yep,
right
yep.
below Thunder Bellow, you see CP0 guy running in.
Yep.
The next panel, he's on Luffy.
Oh, he is. I didn't even see that.
Grabbing his arm, and you see the onomatopoeia grab.
Yep,
Boom,
yep.
he grabs.
Yep.
Tekai, Iron Body, and he is just kind of holding his shit back, and then Kaido comes with the wham.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, he's holding on to the shoulder too.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, but I think we hit the nail on the head with that. I just wanted to focus on that because I thought about it for some reason a couple moments ago, and I fast forwarded to it while I had it in mind. But we can definitely go back to the beginning of the chapter now after Drake, if we want. But
I touched on the part that I was like, yeah, good for you, Drake.
yeah.
You got to live honorably.
Well, just
And,
inside of the fight with Kaido and Luffy, then I love the fucking Python. I love how like Kaido seems to be having a really hard time with it, but then he just like goes into like gamer sit up mode on Luffy, like all right, let me take this serious, like playing Madden. You know what I mean? Like Kaido said, hold on, all right, bet. I saw someone say that on Twitter.
In a game that you've been playing since before they were born.
Yeah. I saw someone say that on Twitter with the memes, like Kaido said, and then the meme of the dude like sitting up to like play more seriously. And I was like, that's just so perfect because he goes into just a flurry of punishment and damage as he continues through his drunk phases. Drunken thief, drunken beggar. Fucking
Stop.
yeah.
That was the flirty drunk on the fan scans.
Yep. It was on the fan. Yeah, on the fan scan, it was flirty drunk. That's right. And then, yeah. So I wonder why it's changed to beggar now.
Beggar is kind of weird.
Like, how does beggar even make sense there?
Because he's asking for him to stop.
Oh, just stop. Okay. That's fine. That's fine.
Please.
Yeah, I think flirty drunk makes a little bit more sense there, but whatever.
Especially
and then,
with like the little heart.
Yep. Yep. And then he grabs him, eats him for a minute, brings him up to the sky, and then like blasts him down.
The Python with pure speed in the dragon form.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
He's like,
you can
in the drunken thief form or the drunken thief phase. Yeah.
Drunken thief. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Kaido's such a cool bad guy. I love dragons. It's a really cool design. I like that he shifts from one form to the other.
Yes.
To like make the best use of each body.
Yeah, for sure.
And
The longer that
then
we've just been getting Kaido right, like every time we get like Kaido writing, it like always like slaps. Like he'll say his things like I'm stronger than you, I'm the king, I'm, blah, and on all of his regular dialogue. But whenever he gets deeper dialogue, like any amount of dialogue deeper than that, it always slaps. Like I'm looking at page 12. But let me tell you, these Wano folk have accepted defeat into their hearts. Weaklings who shun violence, casualties who found glory in death. I've seen plenty of the losers and vanquished here, and they all have their excuses. Strong or just stubborn, the victor needs no epithet, so which are you? Like, that's just, whenever we get this Kaido backstory, I didn't really, I feel like that's like a grammatical error in the dialogue that kind of like tripped me up there. When it says like plenty of the losers, and I've seen plenty of the losers and vanquished here, that kind of like tripped me up there. But this line of dialogue is just so fire for Kaido. Like, it just deepens him that much more. And whenever we get this fucking backstory, I can just tell from the lead up, the little bits and crumbs that Oda has kind of been giving us throughout the course of this raid, that whenever it's focus time, that shit's gonna be one of the strongest backstories that we've seen.
Man, I just like that, like, there's also the parallel of, like, Odin
Yeah.
and Luffy,
Yeah.
and, like, Kaido just, oh, you got distracted in the middle of a fight? Well, a fight doesn't deserve distractions. Gotcha. And
He's
I really
upset with this.
Oh no, he's high-key upset. He
Yeah,
doesn't feel that way.
he's mad
pissed.
as fuck about this because
But he still follows through.
I think he's
Like,
like
only
already
because
in the
he's
middle of the
already in the
momentum,
middle of
right?
it, yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
he was mad when it happened with Odin back in the day. Like that's why he killed the
He
motherfucker.
killed that old bitch.
Yeah, he killed the bitch who set up Odin for doing that. He's like,
Yeah.
that's not fucking cool. Fuck you. You fucked with my fight. You fucked with my honor. Like that's not
Yeah.
what we do around here. Bye. And now this CP0 dude has done the same thing and evoked similar, emotional response from Kaido, and now he's about to fucking kill this CP0 dude next chapter. Obviously,
I mean, yeah,
giving
look how
Luffy,
upset he is in his, like, the top left panel. He
Yeah.
looks, it's like a
He's like, "No way."
combination of, like despair and desperation.
and disbelief. He's like, I can't believe this is happening again.
He's like,
I think
you know,
Kaido
this-
like literally wants an honorable defeat.
Yeah.
He wants
he does.
to be defeated honorably, and he's come across two different characters now that he thought could have done it, and he's gotten shysted out of it twice. So I don't know. What do you guys think it'd be fire if like Kaido murders this CP0 dude, and then like we pan away from these events later on? Everybody's making it up to the roof, like, oh, what's going on? We got to see Luffy beat the become the king of pirates, and like they get up there, nothing's really happening. They're like, huh, it seems kind of quiet up here. Luffy's like knocked out. Kaido's just like sitting in front of him, just like chugging some sake, waiting for him to wake up. Like, I'm not giving up my second chance at this honorable defeat. We gonna see how this plays out.
Yeah.
what if he does the thing where he's like, another wasted, it's like another loss.
Yeah.
You did well, boy. Like, pours one out on top of Luffy, and Luffy just splutters and comes back to consciousness. Like,
Well, I think that like because Luffy's been talking this entire chapter about how he's running out of time. This is my final Gear 4. I have to do it now, or I'm going to. This is my final attack, and if it doesn't work, I lose. And then he gets battered with the Thunder Bagua because of the CP0 agent. So obviously Luffy is down for the count for this moment. He's going to lose his Gear 4, and he's going to be effectively defeated for a little bit. But the attention is going to shift away from Luffy to this CP0 agent, and they're going to fight for however long, giving Luffy the time he needs to recover and then come back to the fight afterwards. So I feel like that's like what we can kind of expect or safely expect. You never know how it'll go, especially in a story like One Piece, but that's what feels the best to me right now, because otherwise I don't know how Luffy just gets right back up after this and continues the fight. So obviously he needs time for a breather. I think the perfect vehicle for that is Kaido's rage against the CP0, and CP0 is probably not planning on fighting Kaido straight up 1v1, so he'll probably have a hit and fade kind of Soru-based, movement strategy against Kaido that will buy time enough for Luffy to kind of come to. And who knows, some other kind of distraction can pull up and change the game in a litany of different ways. You never know who could make it to this roof and
I dig
stall
that.
this
I
out.
mean,
Luffy's about to wake up in the
Law's
first.
heading towards that.
I think
towards the roof,
I think
too.
Law's spent.
Yeah.
Law's done for at least for the foreseeable future.
I think Luffy wakes up and like the first thing he sees is like this CP0 dude's like dead ass body.
Yeah. you get the eye opening perspective, like
And he's like, oh shit, looks up and Kaido's like, I've been waiting for you to wake up, like
yeah.
wasn't giving up my chance
We
at
ain't
this
done.
saying, like,
Yeah.
it's like I'm giving you the fair chance you deserve because I think you hard body, you earn my respect.
Yeah. What you need to get back on your feet? You need some meat? Hold on real quick. Let me get you some. Let me get you some mutton right quick. Get you back in this brawl.
Pretty much, man.
Yeah.
Like, this is...
Yeah, I mean you can see it in his eyes right here in this last, show me what you got, boy. Like he's in that bloodthirsty. He said,
Yeah. The drawing of his face on the bloodthirsty drunk panel, he just looks like such a menace.
He's a straight up like Wario.
Yeah, Wario type shit.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's hilarious.
Love it.
oh yeah, dude.
Nah, he's cold blood. He's cool. I like it, and
Yeah, man.
he doesn't like the whole Masters thing either. He's like, oh, CP0. Nah, you're on to some fuck shit right now. Like,
Yeah.
I ain't about it.
Yeah, I'm
Never
excited to see this dude get straight trounced next chapter. That's gonna be like so satisfying because he's been such a fucking shady little bitch the
Yeah.
entire time. And it's like, yes, force him into a fight so I can see his kit because you have to be cold if you're gonna be running throughout this raid on some fucking sneaky backdoor bitch shit. You better be drastic in combat, like before you're defeated at least, so that I don't.
What's kind of weird
Yeah.
is that like this guy seems to be like the opposite of Luffy, like the CP0 guy.
Mm.
He's built up to be kind of the opposite because like I was just looking at the last page, 17, and his hat, the way it's set up in the bottom left panel, kind of looks like Straw Hat Luffy's hat,
Oh,
even
sure.
though I know it's not.
Yeah.
And then like Luffy has a scar on his left eye. This guy has a scar on his right eye.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, he totally does.
Yeah.
Wow. The iron
I'm
body
just
panel
like-
on the bottom of 15.
At the bottom of 2, at the middle of 2, where he's like talking to Drake and he's like, why'd you do this? And he's like,
Yep.
justice. And he's like, I'm envy.
Yep.
And it's just like, you are just like a weird little foil of
Little mini foil.
someone with power and what they could be, and like
Yeah.
you're gonna be a poor replacement
Yeah.
for Luffy facing Kaido's wrath.
Luffy
Like,
using his influence to potentially change the world for the better, and CP0 dude using his influence to try to keep the world the same.
maintain the status quo.
Yeah,
of
maintain
just-
the status quo. Mhm.
Yeah, I like that. Little
That's
nice
cool.
visual nod.
Yeah, that is tight. I don't think I had anything else for One Piece this week, though.
Yeah, I think that's about all I had as well.
Shorter chapters,
I'm
super
satisfied.
straightforward. Yeah.
All contained within just kind of pretty much one perspective, which we don't see often.
Yeah.
Not in this
In
arc.
one- Yeah, not in yet. But yeah, I think that'll do it for One Piece, and that will do it for this episode of the Project Manga Podcast. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did, be sure to slap a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more fire weekly content. Also, make sure you leave a comment in that comment section down below. First and foremost, let you know which series you think we should replace Dr. Stone with. Secondly, if you had any thoughts or questions for us, chop it up with us down there. And as always, take a look in that description box down below where you can find any and all links to our individual social media accounts such as Twitter, online communities like Discord, audio listening platforms to consume the podcast on, as well as ways to support the podcast through our Patreon or our online store. And with all those words said, this will be another incredible episode of the Project Manga Podcast wrapping up. I'm your host, Eagle.
Knox.
And I'm Mellow Yenis.
Sarabada.